Phoenix Knights. Chapter 360. The rules of the sacred true dragon gathering were extremely strict. If one challenged someone and didn't follow the rules, they would have to pay a price if they failed. Goddess Bing Wei and Zhao Feng ended in a draw, but the former had to pay a part of her dragon blessing. When Zhao Feng's dragon blessing instantly rose by 10 times and jumped into the top 20 of the sacred true dragon gathering, on par with Mo Tianyi and Qin Kunwu. The dragon blessing of an overwhelming prodigy is indeed strong. Just losing a small portion was enough to make my strength rise so much. Zhao Feng was overjoyed. After all, the final ranking of the sacred true dragon gathering wasn't based on the number of wins and losses, but the dragon blessing. This meant that Zhao Feng had jumped to the peak of the continent, and was only below the 5 overwhelming prodigies. High up in the air on the stage. This brat is unquestionably the number 1 black horse. Until the very last moment, everything is hard to predict. For example, that Xian Wuheng has been restricting his cultivation. Murong Fan and Seng Yuyue from the western zone and Zhao Yufei and the Tuoba family's successor from the eastern zone all have great potential. The eyes of the 9 sovereigns were like torches as they scanned the crowd. They knew which geniuses were hiding something and which ones had great potential. Zhao Feng was unquestionably the number 1 black horse of this sacred true dragon gathering, but his cultivation had increased by leaps and bounds and his potential had been squeezed out. On the other hand, Xian Wuheng, Murong Fan, Sang Yuyue, Zhao Yufei and the Tuoba family's successor all had great potential. Right at this moment, in the clouds above the ancient Colosseum, all sorts of blurry images of every shape and form appeared. 1, 2, another 2 inheritances. Those from the Sacred Alliance watched the changes above. At this point in time there were a total of 4 inheritance projections excluding the Scarlet Moon inheritance. Zhao Feng walked off the stage and couldn't help but look at the inheritance projections in the clouds. This is a great era that surpasses the past. Will the most ancient and mysterious Heaven's Legacy inheritance appear? Many experts and geniuses couldn't help but be fascinated. According to legend, every time the Prophet's inheritance appeared, it would cause a great change in the world and affect the situation of the entire continent. However, the inheritance of the Heaven's Legacy had not appeared for a very, very long time. Not long ago, the projection of the Scarlet Moon inheritance was taken by the Scarlet Moon demonic religion, and the Sacred Alliance could swallow this humiliation. How could there not be a trace of higher expectations? He returned to the audience. Zhao Feng sat cross-legged and focused on consolidating his root of law while slowly absorbing and converting the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit. The Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit was purer than Zhao Feng's. If he was assimilated by this source of true spirit, then Zhao Feng would be forced to cultivate the mystic flower treasured Bible, which was something he didn't want to see. Therefore, he first recovered and strengthened his source of true spirit to slow down the absorption of the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit. Every time he absorbed a strand of his source of true spirit, Zhao Feng would use his true spirit lightning flame to refine it, and brand it with the lightning inheritance. This way, Zhao Feng wasn't just absorbing, he was also refining. Luckily, Zhao Feng's true spirit lightning flame was extremely strong. It was a peak destructive flame of true spirit that surpassed most spiritual flames. As the 5 zones battle competition came to an end, Zhao Feng continued to refine and absorb the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit, using every second to consolidate and increase his cultivation. Finally, before the end of the 5 zones battle competition, Zhao Feng's cultivation had stabilized at the peak true human rank. Any further increase would be very slow, as there was an invisible bottleneck. I've refined 1/3 of the Water Moon Pirate's source of true spirit. There's still 2/3 left. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled as he started to think. Even if he used the true spirit lightning flame to refine the source of true spirit, it would still assimilate with his own source of true spirit. After all, the 2 sources of true spirit were formed from 2 completely different techniques. I can only absorb half of the remaining 2 source of true spirit, and have a 50-50 chance of breaking through to the true mystic rank. If I exceed it, my source of true spirit will be assimilated and lose the essence of the lightning inheritance. Zhao Feng's mind kept on calculating. This meant that he had to find a way to use one of the two remaining source of true spirit from the water moon pirate. Using it? Zhao Feng's eyes lit up as he had another bold plan. Everyone knew that the source of true spirit was the source of the qi of true spirit. Once it was destroyed, those at the true spirit realm would lose their cultivation. Therefore, the source of true spirit was the essence of an expert at the true spirit realm and was equivalent to half their life. At the critical moment, I can burn my qi of true spirit, and even the remaining portion of my source of true spirit. What kind of battle power would that have? Thinking up to here, Zhao Feng laughed in his heart. Under normal situations, burning the qi of true spirit would increase one's battle power, but it would harm one's foundation. However, Zhao Feng was going to give up on this part of the source of true spirit. Invisibly, Zhao Feng had another trump card. At this moment, the first round of the Sacred True Dragon Gathering 5 Zones has ended. The top 500 will enter the second round True Dragon 100 Top. A loud and powerful voice reverberated throughout the ancient arena. The second round was the True Dragon Top 100. Comparatively speaking, this round was much simpler. 100 True Dragon Geniuses were chosen. The True Dragon Top 100 was also the origin of the continent's True Dragon Geniuses. Only by reaching the top 100 in the Sacred True Dragon Gathering could one be called a True Dragon Genius. Top 100. Beimwa smiled bitterly. In the first round, he fought many battles, but his winning rate was less than half. This result obviously meant that he wouldn't be able to participate in the Sacred True Dragon Gathering. It failed. Dong Shue's eyes were moist. Buzz! Zhao Feng found that his True Dragon token had lit up and his dragon blessing was rising. Meanwhile, the True Dragon tokens of the losers started to dim, and their dragon blessing started to disappear. Ka-cha! Ka-cha! The loser's True Dragon token shattered one by one and their dragon blessing was taken by the winner. There were at least 3,000 people participating in the Sacred True Dragon Gathering, but only 500 advanced to the next round. Zhao Feng felt his dragon blessing become stronger, and a faint golden light appeared on his True Dragon token. The genius dragon luck of the 5 peerless geniuses rose a few zhang into the sky, emitting a brilliant golden glow. Rumble! The ancient Colosseum began to shake violently. The surrounding stone statues and the legendary divine statues emitted a strange energy that seemed to pierce through the heavens and the earth, giving people the illusion that the world was shaking. The geniuses within almost couldn't breathe as they looked up to the sky in awe. The ancient Colosseum was slowly changing. The feeling of the shaking was amplified tenfold by some kind of power. The second round, True Dragon 100 Top. Zhao Feng watched the changes in the ancient arena. The 5 arenas sank bit by bit. Finally, they merged into the arena and disappeared. It was truly a coincidence. According to what Zhao Feng knew, the ancient arena was connected to the Heaven's Legacy inheritance. Sometimes, the primordial Colosseum will trigger some unpredictable changes based on the Dragon Providence's situation. The bronze-skinned giant Deputy Palace Lord looked at the stone statues around the ancient arena. Behind each and every one of those stone statues was a legend that shocked the heavens and made ghosts and gods weep. Some of the tallest statues were people from the heavens and earth. This was especially true for the 10 tallest sky-propping stone statues. They seemed to stand side by side with the heavens and the earth, majestic and boundless. They were at least several hundred zhang tall, and some were even close to 10,000 zhang tall. Even the Deputy Palace Lord of the Sacred Alliance had deep respect in his eyes when he looked at these statues. Zhao Feng stared at the ancient arena and once again had that weird feeling. It was as if the stone statues had a life of their own and were watching their every move. Boom! A transparent layer of light suddenly appeared in the center of the ancient arena. The transparent membrane slowly expanded, from the initial radius of 1 kilometer to dozens of kilometers. Within the layer of light, one could clearly see the outline of the terrain such as mountains, rivers, lakes, forests, etc. From this angle, it looked like a map, but it was the same as the real thing. This is the ancient spatial domain array, a secret dimension created by the power of the heavens. The space inside the space field spell formation is several times larger than the space in the real world, or even dozens of times larger. The 9 sovereigns were all knowledgeable and had even been to the outside world. Xiao Feng couldn't help but take a deep breath and open his god's spiritual eye. The ancient spatial domain array was a secret dimension of its own. From the outside, one could clearly see what was going on inside the sky field formation without any obstructions. This feeling was like an illusion of looking down at another world. Just how big is this world and how many new things are there? Xiao Feng felt that ever since he had stepped into the sacred true dragon gathering, he had come into contact with a completely different world. Shwa! The transparent layer of light quickly extended and soon covered the entire ancient arena. The transparent layer of light was like a ripple of water that passed through all the geniuses. Shwa! 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 The geniuses all entered a new world, and those with broken true dragon tokens were all eliminated and moved out of the arena. This is? Xiao Feng found that he was standing on a plain, and there were some dazed geniuses far away. It's the same true dragon 100 top, but why is it different this time? Mo Tianyi, Prince Jean, and the others that had participated in the sacred true dragon gathering were slightly surprised. Through the spectating stands and the stage in the air, one could clearly see the scene within the transparent layer of light. A total of 500 geniuses were scattered in an independent dimension of 1,000 miles. Some geniuses were in mountain caves, some were in dense forests, some were in the clouds, and some were in rivers. Such a complicated terrain tests one's battle prowess even more. It's no longer an open battle. The 9 sovereigns on the stage observed the situation within the transparent space. What are the rules of this stage? The 500 geniuses were scattered across the transparent space and didn't know what to do. What was wrong? The 9 sovereigns looked at each other and felt that something was wrong. Deputy Palace Lord, not good. The second segment was automatically triggered by the primordial arena. It was different from the previous segments. We've lost control of the sacred true dragon gathering. A white-bearded sovereign flew over with an anxious look on his face. Chapter 361. We've lost control of the sacred true dragon gathering. The shocking news made the expressions of the 9 sovereigns change slightly. The Sacred Alliance was shaken. The first round of the Sacred True Dragon Gathering Battle of 5 Zones was completely under the control of the Sacred Alliance. However, when it came to the second segment, the ancient arena automatically activated, producing some kind of ancient profound understanding power, forming a brand new competition venue. Within the light membrane, there were mountains, rivers, and forests, forming a small space of its own. A total of 500 geniuses were scattered across the secret realm, and didn't know what to do. The ancient arena is ancient and mysterious. It's even older than the Sacred Alliance and the 10 great clans. It contains the power of the heavens and earth. The Deputy Palace Master, the bronze-skinned giant, stared at the stone statue mountains around the ancient arena with a face full of respect. But what will happen if we lose control of the sacred true dragon gathering? If any great changes were to occur, these geniuses are the future of the continent. They are the most glorious generation in all of history. The sovereigns were all worried. The bronze-skinned giant said, "The most important thing right now is to find out what the rules of the second round are." The gazes of the sovereigns turned towards the white-bearded sovereign. "Rules? I'm afraid there are no rules." The white-bearded sovereign smiled bitterly. "No rules." The expressions of the sovereigns changed dramatically. In the second round, the ancient arena had placed all the geniuses into a small dimension. Even the Sacred Alliance couldn't interfere. As for the rules, there were no hints. Could it be that these geniuses can do anything in the spatial zone array? Kill, set fire, gang up, destroy, anything? The Mystic Sword Sovereign took a deep breath. That should be the case. Analyzing the spatial zone array, the people outside can only look inside and the people inside can't see outside. We can't do anything. The white-bearded sovereign shook his head. The sovereigns of the Sacred Alliance had lived for several hundred years and had witnessed many sacred true dragon gatherings. However, this was the first time they had seen the ancient arena take back control of the sacred true dragon gathering. If that's the case, then let's wait and see. The deputy palace lord's voice was emotionless. Within the barrier of light, the 500 geniuses were scattered around and were dazed at the start before becoming restless like flies. They were in this small space, but they couldn't see what was happening outside. However, the people in the spectator stands could see every detail of the fight from all angles. Unable to contact the outside world, what happened to the sacred true dragon gathering? Zhao Feng stood on the plain and frowned. Unlike most geniuses, he was calm and collected. Whoosh! Zhao Feng opened his god's spiritual eye, and through the light membrane, he could see the spectator stands outside the ancient arena, including the oval stage above him. At the same time, the inheritors of the 3 eye bloodlines of the continent all used their eye bloodlines to observe the scene outside. In the end, the ghost-eyed man had failed. His eye bloodline wasn't good at seeing through things. The successor of the Tuoba family had tried and failed. In the entire light membrane space, only Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye could see through the light membrane and see the situation outside. Of course, this didn't mean that Zhao Feng's eye bloodline was stronger than the 3 families. His god's spiritual eye was good at X-ray vision, telescopic vision, and microscopic insight. This was the foundation of a strong learning and replication ability. This brat's eyes seem to be able to see us. Sovereign Yu Xingchen lightly inspected Zhao Feng in the light membrane. But right at this moment, Zhao Feng took back his gaze as if it was just an illusion. A while later, Zhao Feng found the highest mountain in the area and looked down at the geography of the Shroud of Light. Shwa! With a scan of the god's spiritual eye, a map of the entire light membrane space appeared in Zhao Feng's mind. Perfect timing, location, and people. Zhao Feng first controlled the location and understood the situation in the light membrane space. After finishing this step, Zhao Feng didn't move and instead observed the situation in the light membrane space. Soon, the figures of fighting appeared near the river zone. Taiyuan Shuangzi first attacked a peak true human rank genius. With the overwhelming prodigy's strength, 1 or 2 moves caused the genius to spit out blood and fall to the ground. Kacha! Taiyuan Shuangzi's big brother chopped off the genius' arm. Ah! The genius screamed and knelt on the ground begging. I admit defeat! Stop! However, the weird thing was that although he admitted defeat, his dragon blessing didn't change at all. There was no one enforcing the rules in this trial. What's going on? We beat our opponent and didn't take his dragon blessing. What shit sacred true dragon gathering, what's wrong with it? Taiyuan Shuangzi roared in anger and unwillingness as he vented his anger on the genius and punched and kicked him. The genius was beaten half to death. Mercy, mercy! I'll give you my true dragon token. The genius cried as he gave the true dragon token to Taiyuan Shuangzi. When the instant Taiyuan Shuangzi received the true dragon token on his body released a bright golden dragon light that rose 1 yard into the air. Kacha! The genius true dragon token instantly dimmed and shattered. Ha ha ha, this feels great. As long as I take the true dragon token, I can take all of the opponent's dragon blessing. Taiyuan Shuangzi sucked in a large amount of dragon blessing and couldn't help but roar towards the sky. In the first round of the sacred true dragon gathering, he could only take 1/5 of the opponent's dragon blessing. But now, taking 1 true dragon token could take all of the opponent's dragon blessing. This scene obviously fell into the eyes of the spectators. I understand, this trial is about plundering by any means necessary. A real battle without any restrictions can better reflect a person's true strength. Sovereign Yu Xingchen's eyes lit up. That's right, there are too many factors that affect strength, including schemes, will, potential, etc. A competition with restrictions and misgivings will greatly limit a person's true strength. Good, but isn't this a bit too cruel? These are the geniuses of the continent. The sovereigns had different opinions, but the majority agreed. At the same time, Zhao Feng, who was standing on the mountain, couldn't help but think after seeing this scene. This trial doesn't seem to have any restrictions. It doesn't matter what method I use as long as I can get the true dragon token. After Zhao Feng finished his analysis, he felt an inexplicable excitement and joy. He preferred to engage in actual combat. This environment was undoubtedly more suitable for Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye continued to pay attention to Taiyan Shuangzi's situation. The crippled genius wasn't kicked out after losing his true dragon token. What did this mean? Not kicked out. Although my true dragon token was taken by Taiyan Shuangzi, I can still take other people's. I still have a chance. The peak true human rank's eyes twinkled as a sliver of hope appeared in his heart. Now he needed to use all his methods to steal other people's true dragon tokens. Thinking up to hear a cold light flashed in his eyes and he ran away under Taiyan Shuangzi's scolding. Humph. I'll let you live if you know what's good for you. Hee hee. Now we're going to start a massacre. Those that don't hand over their true dragon token will be killed without mercy. Taiyan Shuangzi's face was cruel as he leapt towards the figures in front of him in search of new prey. In less than half the time it took tea to be made, the sounds of killing could be heard. Ah! A blood-curdling scream came from a hillside. A genius that didn't hand over his true dragon token was killed by Taiyan Shuangzi. Hua! All the experts in the spectator stands exclaimed in shock. The elder of the killed genius couldn't help but protest and wanted to cancel Taiyan Shuangzi's right to participate in the sacred True Dragon Gathering. Sorry everyone, the sacred True Dragon Gathering has entered a glorious era and the ancient arena has automatically started. The rules mean that there are no rules. The bronze-skinned deputy palace lord's emotionless voice sounded across the spectating stands. The rules meant that there were no rules. The crowd broke out into chaos. Guests from all over the continent, the Sacred Alliance has lost control of the sacred True Dragon Gathering. This isn't something we want, the white-bearded sovereign said. The elders of the various forces all took in a cold breath. However, the truth was like this. The sacred True Dragon Gathering had lost control and even the Sacred Alliance couldn't control it. Killing, ambushing, gang-beating, arson. None of the methods went against the rules in the second stage. The rules meant that there were no rules. Don't you think that under the baptism of blood and metal, the potential of these geniuses will be stimulated and increase the dragon blessing of the continent? The bronze-skinned giant's eyes were filled with cruelty, excitement, and expectation. Bloody battles and whatnot were nothing to these venerables. They had seen all sorts of scenes. No one went against the decision of the Sacred Alliance Deputy Palace Lord. Most people didn't know the Deputy Palace Lord's strength, and only knew that he could threaten some sovereigns. He had even fought with the Scarlet Moon demonic religion and Sword Saint Wuxia before. Those familiar with him knew that he was also a bloodthirsty person. Within the barrier of light, cries of killing sounded as the geniuses from all over started to fight. Of course, there were very few people as cruel as Taiyan Shuangzi. In normal battles, as long as one side was willing to hand over their true dragon token, they wouldn't be killed. After all, they were all from the same continent. If they killed someone, they might offend a powerful force or even a venerable one. Geniuses that could reach this step all had strong backgrounds and were at least at the true lord rank. There were also some geniuses that were descendants or successors of sovereigns. Let's go. Zhao Feng's figure flashed and floated down from the peak. His god's spiritual eye soon found a direction. At a certain moment, a crystal blue bow appeared in Zhao Feng's hand and the 3 silver arrows instantly returned to their places. Chiu, an arrow of ice and lightning, shot into the forest at twice the speed of sound. Ah! A dark-clothed youth fell to the ground with a plop. His shoulder had been pierced by the Luoho arrow and the power of ice and lightning eroded him. He was instantly paralyzed and unable to move. How is this possible? How did you see through my darkness secret concealment technique? The dark-clothed youth was shocked. Meow meow! A silver-gray thieving cat appeared next to the dark-clothed youth, and with a schwa took his true dragon token. Chapter 362. The second round was even crueler, and Zhao Feng told the little thieving cat to help him. The little thieving cat was his spiritual pet. Even if it appeared in the first round, it wouldn't be breaking the rules, let alone the second round where there were no rules. "You're Zhao Feng." The dark-clothed youth watched as the little thieving cat took his true dragon token, and all his dragon blessing went towards Zhao Feng. Being the number one black horse of this sacred true dragon gathering, most geniuses obviously knew Zhao Feng. Bingqiu Zhao Feng ignored him and shot out 2 more arrows in the blink of an eye. They flew towards the forest and the clouds. The new Luoho bow had been forged by Master Taigon, and both the bow and arrows were close to the middle-tier spiritual grade. Its power even surpassed normal middle-tier spiritual grade weapons. Whoosh! Whoosh! The Luoho arrow flashed with lightning and another 2 figures fell off their horses. The genius hidden in the clouds had reached the true mystic rank and his body went numb after being hit by the arrow. He instantly lost 80 to 90% of his battle power and fell down. "How is this possible? I just flew here and—" The true mystic rank genius gritted his teeth and circulated his chi of true spirit. Before he landed on the ground, he heard a meow, and a silver-gray cat that looked like an old fox appeared next to him. Voila! A dark silver whip with blood patterns tied him up like a spirit snake, draining him of his blood essence and power. Meow meow! The little thieving cat jumped onto his shoulder and tried to take his true dragon token. Don't even think about it! After all, this prodigy was at the true mystic rank and his chi of true spirit surged furiously, creating a strong wind. "Paw!" A cat's paw ruthlessly slapped his face. Suddenly, the world spun around him, and his face burned. Before he could react, the little thieving cat took his true dragon token and gave it to its owner. "And I have a helper and his speed isn't bad." Zhao Feng's dragon blessing glowed even brighter. A third of the silver token had turned gold and silver. There was a faint silhouette of a gold and silver dragon on his body, and a dragon's roar could be heard as it revolved around him. Next! Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye could theoretically see through the entire secret realm, as long as there weren't any large objects in the way. Instantly, the human and cat started to move around in the light dimension and used various methods to steal true dragon tokens without any effort. Every time the Luoho bow rang, it meant that at least one person fell off his horse. On the spectator stand and the oval platform, the experts from the various forces widened their eyes. "Fuck! This is too fast! This Zhao Feng seems to be very familiar with the terrain of this space. None of the people hiding in the dark can escape his eyes." Zhao Feng's figure shuttled back and forth in the space, catching one at a time. His archery skills that surpassed miracles and his eyesight that could see through everything made this genius dark horse feel like a fish in water in a completely new and unfamiliar environment. That efficiency and speed left people speechless. The sovereigns on the stage couldn't help but be stunned. This Zhao Feng has already controlled the environment and the entire situation. The bronze-skinned giant's eyes flashed as he said solemnly, "Although his eye bloodline is strong, isn't it a bit exaggerated to say he's controlling the situation?" A female venerable said in surprise, "If you pay attention, you'll find that every time he moves, he'll meet geniuses no matter if they're in the open or in the dark. What's more, he always maintains a certain distance from the 5 overwhelming prodigies and the geniuses of the first tier. This way, his harvesting is the highest." The bronze-skinned giant's use of the word harvesting made the sovereigns nodded in agreement. Every time Zhao Feng met an opponent, he would quickly steal their true dragon token. His methods weren't as brutal as Taiyun Shuangzi's. Every time he would sneak attack or steal, he would easily get the true dragon token. Sometimes, Zhao Feng didn't even need to defeat his opponent, and just needed to work with the little thieving cat to steal their true dragon token. I have to admit that little thieving cat has greatly increased his efficiency, and used the smallest price to achieve his goal. The mystic sword sovereign squinted his eyes as he inspected the little thieving cat next to Zhao Feng, The little thieving cat's signature move was to slap the opponent's face with its paw and leave a burning paw print. Even those at the true mystic rank felt dizzy after being hit by the cat's paw and didn't know which way was north. "NN. Looks like you've become stronger in every aspect." Yao Feng patted the little thieving cat's head in satisfaction. The little thieving cat had eaten a large amount of his treasures. Close to half of the water moon treasury had been eaten by the little thieving cat. Of course, the effect was obvious. The little thieving cat's strength had increased by quite a bit. Although it might not be a match for a true mystic rank head-on, it could sneak attack one or two normal true mystic ranks. As for the little thieving cat's abilities, Zhao Feng still didn't know. The little thieving cat's agility was top tier, and its invisibility was something that Zhao Feng could only see with his god's spiritual eye. As for its cat claws, although the power was average, it could make those at the true mystic rank dizzy, which was even more incredible. Meow meow! The little thieving cat grinned and put its hands on its waist as it wagged its tail and made a one-of-a-kind expression. Its expression and actions were perfect and could be easily understood by anyone. Schwa! Many of the guests on the spectator stand couldn't help but laugh out loud. Ha ha ha, this cat's pretty interesting. Its background probably isn't simple. The venerable ones on the oval platform could not help but laugh. Meow meow! The little thieving cat stood on Zhao Feng's shoulder and made a face towards the barrier of light with slight disdain. Ah! The expressions of the 9 sovereigns changed dramatically. This cat can see us? The sovereigns looked at each other. It was fine if the cat could see them, but it dared to be disrespectful to the sovereigns. Unknowingly, the little thieving cat had won a group of fans in the ancient arena. This was especially true for the female experts. This included the female sovereigns on the stage who stared at the little thieving cat with love. I like this cat. I'll think of a way to trade with that brat. A green-robed female venerable had a look of delight on her face. It was obvious that she liked the little thieving cat very much. Such a fun cat definitely has a powerful and mysterious ancient bloodline. From the looks of it, it signed a blood contract with that brat. Green Moon Venerable, could it be that you want to force a sale? The Mystic Sword Sovereign joked. This brat comes from the Iron Blood religion and has a sovereign behind him. He was also a member of the Alliance, and once fought with me against the Scarlet Moon religion patriarch. The bronze-skinned giant said intentionally or unintentionally, as if reminding her not to have the idea of using force. All in all, I'll make use of him. The Green Moon Sovereign said confidently. Within the barrier of light. Time flew by and 2 days had passed. As the battle continued, the number of true dragon tokens continued to decrease. The geniuses that had lost their true dragon token crazily counterattacked. Killing, ambushing, all sorts of methods were used. Under this situation, forces like the 10 great clans would form a group if they had 2 or 3 geniuses. At this point in time, Zhao Feng's harvesting speed finally slowed down. One reason was because the number of true dragon tokens was decreasing. In this dimension, if one lost and their true dragon token was stolen, they would lose all the dragon blessing and their original true dragon token would shatter and disappear. Of course, the remaining true dragon tokens would become more and more valuable. Each true dragon token was at least a faint silver grade. Zhao Feng's true dragon token had turned into a brilliant gold color, and the figure of a golden dragon shrouded him. His dragon blessing was extremely strong. My current dragon blessing is comparable to the 5 overwhelming prodigies of the first stage. However, after entering this dimension, the dragon blessing of the 5 overwhelming prodigies will definitely increase. Zhao Feng analyzed. He estimated that his dragon blessing would at least be in the top 10, and only below the 5 overwhelming prodigies. The venerables on the oval platform looked down at the light membrane space and discovered that the 6 largest golden dragons had risen in the void. They were at least 3 meters tall. Amongst them, Yu Wushuang and Taiyun Shuangzi were close to 2 yards. The reason why it was 6 and not 5 was because one of them was extremely close to the 5 overwhelming prodigies. The source was Zhao Feng. Of the 6, Zhao Feng was the weakest. Next was Goddess Bingwei. All the other overwhelming prodigies had won the first round. Only she had a draw with Zhao Feng and had 1/5 of her dragon blessing taken away. Within the barrier of light, the 5 golden luck dragons let out faint dragon roars that could be sensed from far away. The true dragon token was a unique existence that couldn't be put into an interspatial dimension. Therefore, the 5 overwhelming prodigies and Zhao Feng couldn't conceal their auras. A 6th dazzling golden dragon blessing? Could it be that this sacred true dragon gathering will give birth to a new overwhelming prodigy? Up to now, Zhao Feng indeed has a high chance of becoming the 6th overwhelming prodigy and pushing this era to its peak. The experts and guests on the spectator stand were all excited and looking forward to it. Although this sacred true dragon gathering had lost control, it was undoubtedly more exciting. Up to now, there were already 20 or so geniuses that had died in the barrier of light, and dozens had been crippled. From this, one could see how intense the competition was. As time passed, the killing became more and more intense and casualties continued to appear. AI, there are fewer and fewer targets. Zhao Feng stood on the 3-flowered treasured lotus and sped through the air. He found many targets, but they didn't have a true dragon token or were too strong and had formed a group. Run! He actually managed to condense the dazzling silhouette of a golden dragon. Is this Zhao Feng going to become the new overwhelming prodigy? He's already the 6th strongest dragon blessing. The geniuses saw Zhao Feng from afar and started to panic. At this point in time, within the light barrier, 6 dazzling golden dragon silhouettes could be seen from dozens of miles away. The powerful draconic providence they exuded could be seen clearly. It's Zhao Feng. He's actually the 6th strongest dragon blessing and is on the same level as the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Mo Tianyi sensed the golden dragon blessing from afar. The geniuses nearby fled in all directions. Fight or retreat? Mo Tianyi and Zhao Feng happened to be opposite each other and faced a difficult decision. Chapter 363. Within the Barrier of Light. Mo Tianyi's eyes twinkled as his handsome figure stood on the spot. Next to him was the other 2 geniuses of the Heavenly Yuan clan. One of them was Zhao Yufei and the other was the yellow-faced man ranked 2nd. Brother Zhao Feng. Zhao Yufei stared at the dazzling golden dragon silhouette in the distance, feeling both happy and worried. The tokens of the 3 geniuses of the Heavenly Yuan clan were at least faint gold. Mo Tianyi's was pure gold, but it wasn't bright and didn't have a dragon blessing figure. Brother Mo, what do we do? The yellow-faced man's heart clenched. In this sacred true dragon gathering, Zhao Feng's momentum was too strong and had fought against overwhelming prodigies. He was without a doubt the number 1 black horse. No one doubted that he was the strongest genius below the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Now, Zhao Feng's body was covered in dragon luck, and he seemed to be on the same level as the 5 overwhelming prodigies. If you want to fight, then let's fight. Mo Tianyi's expression was solemn and solemn. He wasn't as casual as when he first met Zhao Feng. That day at the Northern Star Stand. The first time Mo Tianyi saw Zhao Feng, his evaluation was not bad. Today he acted as if he was facing a great enemy. Mo Tianyi had seen the battle between Zhao Feng and Goddess Bingwei from start to finish and saw Zhao Feng's miraculous steps. The shock he felt at that time was still lingering. No matter how arrogant he was, he had to admit that Zhao Feng was a terrifying enemy. The yellow-faced man's eyes twinkled as he messaged, "If the 3 of us team up against this brat, we won't lose at least." Perhaps Mo Tianyi facing Zhao Feng alone was a bit uncertain, but if he and Zhao Yufei were included, it would be a completely different situation. After all, there were no rules in the Barrier of Light. Sneak attacks and gang fights were all allowed. No matter who wins or loses, you 2 can't interfere. Mo Tianyi took a deep breath and messaged. He felt ashamed for his junior brother's words. Being the head disciple of one of the 10 great clans and the legend of the peak geniuses of the northern continent, how could Mo Tianyi gang up on a black horse? Whoosh! Zhao Feng stood on the 3-flowered treasured lotus and flew towards the direction of Mo Tianyi's group with his god's spiritual eye. The 2 sides were getting closer and closer. The atmosphere in the surroundings suddenly became heavy. Some of the geniuses watching from afar even held their breaths. The spectator seats outside the light-filmed space and the venerables on the oval platform were all interested and expectant. Zhao Feng looked down from above, and with his god's spiritual eye, he naturally saw Mo Tianyi and company. But he didn't back down. Instead, he inched closer and closer. The situation became even more tense. Zhao Yufei's heart skipped a beat. Could it be that brother Zhao Feng would make a move on the three of us? According to the previous records, once Zhao Feng made his move, it was basically impossible for him to fail. Looks like this battle can't be avoided. The chi of true spirit within Mo Tianyi's body started to circulate faster and faster. Every movement of his seemed to contain the profound power of the heaven-earth yuan qi. The air around him seemed to contain mountains. Zhao Yufei and the yellow-faced man retreated a certain distance and didn't interfere with Mo Tianyi and Zhao Feng's battle. Before this, Mo Tianyi was the unshakable #1 genius of the northern continent. Even Xian Wuheng and Xia Xianshan had lost to him. When a transparent azure lightning flame flashed in Zhao Feng's left eye, no longer the faint azure from before. That azure thunderfire flickered between light and dark, sparkling and translucent. It looked so beautiful, but it contained a fatal danger. The hearts of Mo Tianyi and company jumped and cursed in their hearts. Zhao Feng's lightning fire god's eye had shocked the sacred true dragon gathering in the 5 zones, and was on par with the inheritors of the 3 major eyes. Even the overwhelming prodigy goddess Bing Wei was extremely wary of this eye technique. Furthermore, now that Zhao Feng's cultivation had reached the peak true human rank, the power of the lightning fire god's eye had obviously increased. At this point in time, whether it was Mo Tianyi or the yellow-faced man, they were all on the alert. Everyone knew that Zhao Feng's eye bloodline couldn't be dodged. Once it was used, no one at the true spirit realm would be able to dodge it. Although the yellow-faced man was at the true mystic rank, he felt suffocated, as if his body and mind were being burned. Although Mo Tianyi looked calm, he didn't have any confidence in dealing with the lightning fire god's eye. Lightning fire god's eye. A transparent azure lightning flame flashed in Zhao Feng's left eye. At that moment, Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man's heart skipped a beat. Who the lightning fire god's eye started to burn in the river 2 miles away. The powerful power of thunder and fire directly evaporated the river water within a 3-meter radius, forming a vacuum zone. A mournful howl came from the river. Then, a ghost-eyed man tumbled out of the river. Ghost-eyed man! It's him, the successor of one of the 3-eye families, the Wu family? Mo Tianyi and the people watching nearby exclaimed in shock. At the same time, they felt lucky, as if they had just survived a disaster. Everyone fixed their eyes on him. They saw the ghost-eyed man's entire body burning with a transparent green flame, lightning crackling in all directions, crackling. The power of lightning and fire passed through both the physical and mental energy dimensions and naturally entered the ghost-eyed man's mental energy dimension. Shameless brat, sneak attack. The ghost-eyed man finally extinguished the lightning and fire, but his face was black and weak. I only attacked first. You've been hiding in the river for so long, did you have any good intentions? Zhao Feng's expression was cold, as if victory was within his grasp. His thunder fire god's eye had already injured the ghost-eyed man, both physically and mentally. The ghost-eyed man gritted his teeth, but he was still enduring the burning in his mental energy dimension. In the mental energy dimension, azure flames burned and lightning struck. This kind of pain was hundreds of times stronger than the physical pain. If it wasn't for the fact that he had an eye bloodline and specialized in mental energy techniques, he would have collapsed already. Seeing Zhao Feng get closer and closer, the ghost-eyed man turned into a blur and disappeared, extremely smart. However, no matter how he ran, he couldn't hide from Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye. Ghost eye soul burn. The ghost-eyed man gritted his teeth and a dark gray flame appeared in his eyes. Instantly, a dark gray ghost flame wrapped around Zhao Feng's body. The cold aura burned his body and made Zhao Feng feel uneasy. Zhao Feng was wearing the Heaven Luo mystic shirt and his clothes weren't damaged at all. At the same time, his bloodline power was activated and an ice figure appeared behind him. When the light of ice and lightning surrounded his body and the dark gray ghost flame seemed to meet its nemesis and was instantly extinguished. The power of ice directly extinguished the flame. Lightning countered the dark Tao of ghosts. As for mental energy, Zhao Feng once again circulated his lightning fire god's eye and extinguished the burn on his mental energy. His source of mental energy was far stronger than the ghost-eyed man, and he was unharmed. Brat. You stole my bloodline's secret technique, and not only are you not grateful, you're even biting the hand that feeds you. The ghost-eyed man screamed with all his might, his voice trembled, revealing an obvious fear. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye countered all his secret techniques, including his eye bloodline and movement skills. The lightning fire god's eye copied his ghost eye soul burn and now completely countered the latter. Lightning and fire were the nemesis of the Tao of ghosts and devils. Furthermore, Zhao Feng's eye bloodline was even stronger. Eye of Eye Soul! Zhao Feng's left eye turned into a deep blue pond and an invisible power of ice entered his mental energy world. CC. The ghost-eyed man seemed to fall into an ice house and his body started to tremble. The coldness spread from his mental energy world and started to corrode and attack his consciousness. First it was lightning and fire, and now it was Ice Soul. The ghost-eyed man took Zhao Feng's dual sky of ice and fire head-on, and his mental energy was on the verge of collapsing and the injury on his mind increased. After being hit by the Eye of Ice Soul, the ghost-eyed man's thoughts became cold, and his actions became extremely slow. A person's actions were controlled by their mental energy. When one's thoughts were frozen, they would become sluggish. It was no different from having one's body frozen. Indeed worthy of being one of the 3 eye families. Even after being hit by 2 of my eye bloodline's secret techniques, he's only injured and not in any danger to his life. Zhao Feng couldn't help but praise. Zhao Feng's dual sky of ice and fire would kill most early-stage true human ranks. The explosive power of the Eye of Eye Soul wasn't strong, but it could last for a long time. Zhao Feng's left eye locked onto the ghost-eyed man. The latter kept on trembling and the coldness in his actions and expression was obvious. Meow meow! A silver-striped blood whip seemed to come from the other side of the air and wrapped around the ghost-eyed man. Voila! The ghost-eyed man was tied up by the silver-striped blood whip and his blood essence was slowly drained. This was the blood essence of one of the 3 eye families. Don't even think about stealing my true dragon token. The ghost-eyed man's face was almost twisted and his gray eyes flashed with a cold blood color as if he was about to use a stronger secret technique. Pa! The little thieving cat's paw slapped his face and he instantly felt a burning sensation, as if the world was spinning around him. Plop! The ghost-eyed man knelt on the ground and by the time he reacted, the little thieving cat that had stolen his true dragon token had disappeared. Not bad. Zhao Feng soon obtained a golden true dragon token which was on par with Emotiani's. In the blink of an eye, the dazzling golden dragon luck projection on his body grew by a few feet, increasing its size by a third. Within the barrier of light, the other 5 golden genius providence dragons seemed to sense something and roared in unison. At this point in time, all the geniuses within the dimension could feel the 6 dragon blessing auras. As long as they were within 100 miles, they could see the golden dragon blessing with their naked eyes. This Zhao Feng's dragon blessing has reached the level of the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Has he become the 6th overwhelming prodigy of this generation? Both the spectators and the spectators were shocked. From the current situation, this seemed to be a foregone conclusion. Emotiani had seen Zhao Feng defeat the ghost-eyed man and take the true dragon token from beginning to end. His heart was filled with shock and a heavy feeling. One had to know that the ghost-eyed man was an expert of the first tier like him. Right at this moment. So, Zhao Feng flew towards Emotiani with the wind. That dreamy blue hair was so bright and eye-catching. Not good. Emotiani and the yellow-faced man's expressions changed and even had the thought of running. Chapter 364. Zhao Feng's sudden approach made Mo Tianyi wary, but he didn't dare to attack. In terms of attack speed, Zhao Feng's eye bloodline could definitely hit the target before they attacked. Facing such an opponent, Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man felt immense pressure and their hearts tightened, not daring to be distracted. Zhao Feng! We're all from the northern continent. Do you really have to be enemies with us and the Heavenly Yuan sect? The yellow-faced man threatened, but his vigilant and uneasy expression made his words lack confidence. The Heavenly Yuan sect was one of the 10 great clans of the continent, and if you didn't count the Mystic Ice Palace, it was the strongest force in the northern continent. Even the 3 great countries were inferior to it and respected it. However, Zhao Feng didn't seem to hear his words and slowly closed in without even looking at Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man. Zhao Feng! You're not a true overwhelming prodigy yet. Don't think that I'm easy to bully. Mo Tianyi finally couldn't take it anymore and his chi of true spirit exploded as he thrust out a palm. The air seemed to shake as if an invisible mountain was descending. Yuan Mountain Secret Palm. The orange chi of true spirit lit up everything within 100 yards radius. The bright crystal palm created a scarlet metallic mountain that pressed down on the entire area. The instant the palm was thrust out, the ground nearby inexplicably caved in. Zhao Feng's heart sank as his blood and chi of true spirit were suppressed by an invisible power. Breathing became hard as if he was facing an unshakable mountain. No matter what he did, he would only be humiliating himself. When an ice figure and throne appeared behind Zhao Feng's back. The instant he thrust out his palm, the 2 powers of ice and lightning intertwined and formed a flower-shaped ice and lightning palm. The moment the flower-shaped palm of ice and thunder collided with the secret heaven palm, it instantly exploded. Lightning, ice, and thunder swept out. Bing bang, one of the ice and lightning palm's power was reflected and headed towards Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng was slightly surprised. His god's spiritual eye had already seen through the mysteries of Mo Tianyi's Yuan Mountain secret technique. Therefore, he tried to focus his attacks, but a part of the power was still reflected back. Thankfully, he was already prepared. The 3-flowered treasured lotus bloomed and the Tianluo mystic robe fluttered even though there was no wind, blocking part of the remaining power. Their palms collided, but neither of them gained the upper hand. This Mo Tianyi's great secret art of Yuan Mountain contains the profound of earth and metal. Attacks of the same level can't do anything to him at all. Instead, they will be bounced back. Zhao Feng saw more clues. Unless he could be like Yu Tianhao, possessing an attack like unparalleled under the heavens, that could sweep through everything and produce absolute suppression. In reality, the best way to deal with Mo Tianyi was to use his eye bloodline or the water moon god Peach Fan. However, Zhao Feng wasn't here to fight Mo Tianyi. Yufei. Zhao Feng did not continue forward. He looked at Zhao Yufei. Brother Zhao Feng! Did you come here to look for me? Zhao Yufei smiled sweetly. Zhao Feng's target was Zhao Yufei. So you two know each other. The yellow-faced man let out a long breath and Mo Tianyi had an expression of as expected. Back at the Northern Star Stand, Zhao Feng had seen Zhao Yufei, but they didn't talk directly. They only had a short conversation in the mental energy level. This included Xian Wuheng, Tsang Yuyue and Bei Mua. At that time, Zhao Feng had been working hard every second or else he wouldn't be where he was now. Zhao Yufei was slightly curious. Why did Zhao Feng suddenly come to find her? This time, Zhao Feng's hair and left eye had turned blue. Zhao Yufei found that the youth in her memory was colder than before. There's something I need to work with the 3 of you on. Zhao Feng's gaze then swept over Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man. Work together? Mo Tianyi couldn't help but feel curious. He wasn't familiar with Zhao Feng and had only met him once or twice. The only thing holding them together was Zhao Yufei. And now even Zhao Yufei was curious what Zhao Feng wanted to work with. Logically speaking, Zhao Feng was able to fight against overwhelming prodigies and he shouldn't be scared of anything in the sacred true dragon gathering. Zhao Feng didn't speak and his eyes met with the 3. Shua! The next instant, The four of them entered an elegant room. Emo Tianyi, Zhao Yufei, and the yellow-faced man sat on chairs. Opposite them sat Xiao Feng. 1v3 conversation mode. Emo Tianyi and company were stunned. They didn't think that Zhao Feng's mental energy communication had reached such a level. This is a simple mental energy illusion. Zhao Feng smiled faintly. After all, he had stepped into the ancient Tao of the soul and had read the Dark Eye incomplete page and had a deeper understanding of mental energy illusions. The scene in front of him was just an illusion on top of mental energy communication. It was still very rough and it was easy to see through the illusions. In this illusion, communication was more realistic, and it was hard for outsiders to see through. At the same time, on the stage, the 9 sovereigns also looked at Zhao Feng. Xiao Feng, Emo Tianyi, and company's states could be guessed at the sovereign's level. This Zhao Feng's dragon blessing is on the same level as the 5 overwhelming prodigies. The sovereigns placed great importance on this. This was because the final ranking of the sacred true dragon gathering was based on one's true dragon blessing. In terms of dragon blessing, he's indeed on the level of overwhelming prodigies. His only weakness right now is that he's still a line away from the true overwhelming prodigies. The bronze-skinned giant analyzed. The sovereigns nodded their heads in agreement. The reason why Zhao Feng was able to fight against Goddess Bing Wei was mainly because he countered the latter. However, even so, Zhao Feng was still being suppressed. If it was any other overwhelming prodigies, Zhao Feng would most likely lose. He has dragon blessing comparable to an overwhelming prodigy, but his strength is slightly lacking. If this continues, will the other overwhelming prodigies let him go? Baiyu Venerable smiled charmingly. Up until now, Zhao Feng's dragon blessing was the smallest of the 6, and was close to Goddess Bing Wei's. However, his growth was too fast, and he might not lose to any of the overwhelming prodigies, and might even surpass most of them. However, would Zhao Feng, who was in the government, be able to sense this? Within the illusion room, Zhao Feng and Emo Tianyi talked for a while, but in reality, it was only a breath's time. Zhao Feng, your tone is too arrogant. You want the 3 core disciples of the Heavenly Yuan clan to protect you? Emo Tianyi said unhappily. I've already said my conditions. I'll double each of your dragon blessing. Apart from that, I'll give you the mystic flower saint liquid to help Yufei break through. If I'm not wrong, Yufei's cultivation is close to the peak true human rank, but her chi of true spirit is extremely pure and several times more than normal people. She has the ability to break through to the true mystic rank. This is obviously a win-win situation. Zhao Feng repeated. His offer wasn't bad, but Emo Tianyi was smart enough to bargain. Emo Tianyi's eyes twinkled. Zhao Feng, from the exchange just then I can see that you're still a bit away from a true overwhelming prodigy. You have such a large amount of dragon blessing and you've offended Goddess Bing Wei. Once any 2 overwhelming prodigies team up, you'll be in dire straits. How could Emo Tianyi not see the situation when Zhao Feng asked for protection? Zhao Feng was still lacking a bit. Once he broke through to the true mystic rank he would be close, and this would greatly reduce the gap in cultivation. This bit was what Zhao Feng lacked the most. Zhao Feng's God's spiritual eye controlled the situation and purposely avoided the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Once his dragon blessing aura reached the same level as the overwhelming prodigies, he would be able to predict the situation. Zhao Feng! Once you break through to the true mystic rank, you'll be the 6th overwhelming prodigy. Who can be sure you won't attack us then? The yellow-faced man was wary. I trust brother Zhao Feng. Zhao Yufei had always trusted Zhao Feng and was willing to cooperate. This way, Emo Tianyi and company wouldn't be able to add any more weight. If I succeed, I'll try to take care of your Heavenly Yuan clan. We can even sign a blood contract, Zhao Feng promised. Hearing this, both Emo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man were moved. There's no need for a blood contract. I trust Yufei and your character. Emo Tianyi nodded his head. The 2 sides immediately came to an agreement. Emo Tianyi and company would protect Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng would first double their dragon blessing and give the mystic flower saint liquid to Zhao Yufei to increase the Heavenly Yuan clan's strength. Finally, If Zhao Feng succeeded, they would have to take care of the Heavenly Yuan clan. Although it seemed like Zhao Feng was at a disadvantage, it was still a strong alliance. After all, Zhao Feng was just a step away from reaching the top 3 or even first place. Next, Zhao Feng, Mo Tianyi and company started to search for true dragon tokens. Because of the god's spiritual eye, Zhao Feng could see the entire scene and quickly found his target. However, his dragon blessing was too large and the other geniuses could see him from afar. Therefore, Zhao Feng told Mo Tianyi and company to set up ambushes and the little thieving cat to sneak attacks from the shadows. In less than half a day, Zhao Feng and company successfully ambushed 5 or 6 geniuses, including Qin Kunwu of the first tier. Mo Tianyi, Zhao Yufei and the yellow-faced man's dragon blessing had doubled. Under Zhao Feng's care, Zhao Yufei's dragon blessing was close to Mo Tianyi's. Zhao Feng didn't absorb any more true dragon tokens and purposely pulled away from the other 5 overwhelming prodigies. It's about time. Let's find a quiet place and you guys protect me. Zhao Feng nodded his head. As for the location, Zhao Feng had already found it and had designed a hidden route that others wouldn't be able to find. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye once again inspected the situation of the 5 overwhelming prodigies. In the northwest direction, Tantai Lanwei and Shi Qingtian, the 2 overwhelming prodigies, teamed up against Yu Tianhao. Their battle caused the heavens and earth to dim, and the mountains to collapse and the earth to crack. Goddess Bingwei hid in the shadows and watched the battle between Yu Tianhao, Tantai Lanwei and Shi Qingtian. As for Taiyan Shuangzi, this pair of brothers had extreme personalities and were cruel and bloodthirsty. This is a good time. Zhao Feng opened his god's spiritual eye and led Mo Tianyi and company into the southeast corner of the river and dove down. Not long later, Zhao Feng dug out a simple cave in the depths of the river. It's indeed hard to find hiding in the depths of the river, but your dragon blessing is still large, and once you get close I'll be able to sense you. Mo Tianyi's eyebrows furrowed. I'll have to rely on Brother Mo for this. Zhao Feng's smile seemed to contain a hint of success as he sat down cross-legged and closed his eyes. Chapter 365. Within the cave at the bottom of the river, Zhao Feng sat cross-legged and Zhao Yufei sat next to him. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man were responsible for guarding and monitoring the situation nearby. Meow meow! The little thieving cat gripped the mystic snake blood whip and leaned against its owner, becoming the closest guard. The reason why Zhao Feng and Mo Tianyi could work together was because of Zhao Yufei's connection. Of course, Zhao Feng wouldn't completely hand his safety to someone else. The reason why he dared to let Mo Tianyi protect him was because he had something to rely on. I've already passed the biggest route of law to break through to the true mystic rank. All I need to do now is refine the water moon pirate source of true spirit. I don't need to focus all my attention. Although Zhao Feng was cultivating with his eyes closed, he could still leave a part of his attention in the outside world. Furthermore, there was also the little thieving cat protecting her. Zhao Yufei could be counted as a childhood friend that had grown up together. If Zhao Feng and Mo Tianyi were to fight, Zhao Yufei was more likely to protect the former. In the worst-case scenario, Zhao Feng would just fail and there wouldn't be any danger. Therefore, this cooperation was worth a try. Yufei, this is the Mystic Flower Saint Liquid. Zhao Feng handed a small bottle to Zhao Yufei. The Mystic Flower Saint Liquid was a supreme saint liquid formed from the 100 Flower Saint Liquid and 3 other saint liquids. It could help those at the true spirit realm comprehend the root of law and increase the chances of reaching the true mystic rank by 30%. According to the agreement, Zhao Feng would have to pay more than Mo Tianyi and company. It didn't seem worth it. However, the Mystic Flower Saint Liquid ended up in Zhao Yufei's hands and Zhao Feng didn't care anymore. Furthermore, the Mystic Flower Saint Liquid's main use was to increase mental energy senses and comprehend the root of law. It was useless for Zhao Feng. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man were both at the true mystic rank and obviously didn't need this liquid. Giving the Mystic Flower Holy Liquid to Zhao Yufei was undoubtedly the best outcome. Brother Zhao Feng, I just happen to have a lightning profound stone here. It's a lightning-type treasure that I obtained when I entered the sect's inheritance last time. Zhao Yufei handed Zhao Feng a purple thunderstone covered with natural patterns. As soon as the lightning stone appeared, a dense surge of lightning yuan qi caused Zhao Feng's qi of true spirit to tremble in excitement. It's actually a lightning profound stone. The conditions for the formation of this stone require an extremely high-quality lightning stone that has to endure the repeated tempering of heaven and earth lightning. Over time, it will absorb a large amount of lightning essence, and even contain a certain amount of profound mysteries of lightning. Zhao Feng was overjoyed to obtain the stone. In terms of value, the lightning profound stone that Zhao Yufei had given him was not inferior to the profound flower holy liquid. This scene fell into Mo Tiany's eyes. At this moment in time, Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei's intimate relationship made him feel complicated. In the world of sex, even martial brothers would scheme against each other, and it wasn't rare for them to kill each other. Mo Tiany was used to being alone. On the other hand, there were no schemes between Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei. After all, they had grown up together. Last time, there was a martial uncle in the sect who proposed to junior sister Yufei to trade lightning profound stones. I remember Sister Yufei said that the lightning profound stone had already been traded. I didn't think she would still have it. The yellow-faced man's eyes twinkled as he tried to guess the relationship between Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei. Could it be that the two of them were blood-related siblings? The cave at the bottom of the river fell into silence. Zhao Feng held the lightning profound stone, and wisps of pure essence of lightning were absorbed into his body and refined by his true spirit lightning flame. Originally, Zhao Feng was worried that his source of true spirit from the lightning inheritance would be assimilated by the water moon pirate's source of true spirit. Now that he had this lightning profound stone, the situation was much better. What made Zhao Feng overjoyed was that the laws of lightning contained within the lightning profound stone were closer to nature and purer than his own lightning inheritance. The laws of lightning contained within the lightning profound stone further supplemented Zhao Feng's comprehension of lightning. In his mind, the second floor of the pavilion represented by the lightning inheritance was completely bright and translucent. The third floor had faint traces of light. Unknowingly, Zhao Feng had reached the peak of the second floor of the lightning inheritance. According to the description of the lightning inheritance, one needed to be at the true lord rank to comprehend the third floor. Chio! Arcs of azure lightning would occasionally appear around Zhao Feng, as if they had a mind of their own. However, they didn't affect the little thieving cat. Time passed slowly. Zhao Feng continued to absorb the essence of the lightning profound stone, and at the same time, he also refined the water moon pirate's source of true spirit. This meant that Zhao Feng's source of true spirit was dominated by lightning. On the other side, after obtaining the mystic flower saint liquid, Zhao Yufei could clearly sense the laws of the heaven-earth yuan qi. Zhao Yufei's situation was the opposite of Zhao Feng's. Zhao Feng's mental energy level surpassed his cultivation, but his qi of true spirit wasn't high enough. On the other hand, Zhao Yufei's bloodline had awakened, and her compatibility with the heaven-earth yuan qi was extremely high. Her qi of true spirit was extremely pure, and her body could even merge with the heaven-earth yuan qi. Her qi of true spirit was several times that of a normal person. This meant that as long as her mental energy level was high enough, Zhao Yufei could rapidly increase her cultivation. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye could see all of this. One had to say that Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei complemented each other perfectly. Zhao Feng suddenly remembered the yin and yang complement technique in the Mystic Flower Treasured Bible. If it could be done, Zhao Feng's mental energy level could complement Zhao Yufei, and Zhao Yufei's pure qi of true spirit could complement Zhao Feng. However, this thought flashed through Zhao Feng's mind, and he didn't consider it. Just as the Water Moon Pirate had said, although the Mystic Flower Treasured Bible was powerful, it wasn't the king's path. While Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei were in seclusion, Mo Tiany and the other person were protecting them. Occasionally, some geniuses would accidentally come near, and Mo Tiany and the other person would take action and chase them away. Zhao Feng's dragon blessing was extremely large, and it was easy to sense if one got too close. With Mo Tianyi and the other person's strength and dragon blessing, normal geniuses would quickly retreat when they got close. As long as they didn't meet an overwhelming prodigy, Mo Tianyi and the other person didn't need to fear anything. The only thing Mo Tianyi was worried about was what if other overwhelming prodigies came. As long as the 5 overwhelming prodigies didn't meet each other, they were invincible. Under normal situations, even Mo Tianyi would retreat if he met an overwhelming prodigy. But now, he had to protect Zhao Feng. Even if he didn't think for Zhao Feng, there was still his junior sister who was also a disciple of a sovereign, and he couldn't ignore her. This Zhao Feng really knows how to scheme and drag junior sister Yufei down with him. Mo Tianyi knew he had no way out. Zhao Feng was on the same side as the Heavenly Yuan clan. On the second day of Zhao Feng's seclusion, a peak first-tier genius appeared near the river zone. If it was a normal first-tier genius such as Qin Kunwu or Xia Xianshan, Mo Tianyi would be able to deal with them. However, this first-tier genius wasn't a normal genius but the successor of the Tuoba family, Tuoba Qi. Tuoba Qi's fame in the sacred true dragon gathering was even greater than Mo Tianyi's. In the air above the river zone, Mo Tianyi and the other person faced off against the successor of the Tuoba family. Tuoba Qi snickered coldly and didn't fear the 2 true mystic ranks. Once his heavenly piercing eye was activated, an invisible blade could instantly cut through the target, making it almost impossible to dodge. At this point in time, the atmosphere was tense. The people outside were also interested and looked forward to what would happen next. The spectating stands and sovereigns obviously knew that Mo Tianyi was protecting Zhao Feng. One Hu! Right at this moment, a powerful aura came from the river and the figure of a golden dragon faintly appeared. Tuoba Qi felt a chill in his heart. He felt as if a pair of cold eyes were locked onto him. When Tuoba Qi looked at the image of the golden luck dragon again, he had a guess. His expression changed and turned grave. Shua! Tuoba Qi turned and left without hesitation. He didn't have any confidence facing the 6th strongest dragon blessing expert who also had a powerful eye bloodline. Furthermore, there was still Mo Tianyi and the other person. Tuoba Qi had obviously seen the battle between Zhao Feng and Goddess Bingwei. He also knew that the ghost-eyed man had been defeated by Zhao Feng. It was because of this that he was wary and decided to leave. Mo Tianyi and the other person let out a breath. Tuoba Qi's heavenly piercing eye was extremely terrifying and hard to defend against. Before, there was even an expert from the first tier who had been defeated by Tuoba Qi in one glance. Mo Tianyi was also worried facing Tuoba Qi. The 6th strongest dragon blessing expert is the strongest. The yellow-faced man couldn't help but sigh as he looked down. Zhao Feng returned to the cave and continued to cultivate. Because he had formed his root of law early, Zhao Feng's process of breaking through to the true mystic rank was relatively simple. He only needed to refine his qi of true spirit, and could retreat at any time. Once a peak genius came close and refused to retreat, Zhao Feng would appear and release a bit of his aura. Apart from the 5 overwhelming prodigies, no one dared to fight against Zhao Feng, Mo Tianyi and company. Time soon arrived on the 3rd day. Zhao Feng's source of true spirit had expanded and his cultivation had reached the peak true human rank. Just a bit more and Zhao Feng would be able to break through to the true mystic rank. This guy's cultivation speed is too fast. Mo Tianyi clucked his tongue. He originally thought that Zhao Feng would need 10 days to half a month to break through to the true mystic rank, but now it seemed that he could succeed in 4 to 5 days. It's the last day. Guard it well. Zhao Feng took a deep breath and put more energy into cultivation. In reality, many geniuses knew that Zhao Feng, Mo Tianyi and company were here and this was a forbidden area. There were very few people who came close to the river zone. However, on this day, a powerful aura suddenly appeared in front of them. From far away, they could see the image of a golden luck dragon. It was 6 meters tall. Not good! An overwhelming prodigy is coming. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man's expressions changed and immediately notified Zhao Feng. Overwhelming prodigy? Could it be Goddess Bingwei? Zhao Feng's expression dimmed. He opened his god's spiritual eye and inspected the situation. In the distant sky, a large bird with colorful wings carried a beautiful girl in a colorful dress. She held a 5-colored glass whip in her hand, and her eyes were pure without any impurities. Her eyes were bright and clear, and there was a ripple in them that was as clear as water. Overwhelming prodigy. Tantai Lanwe! Mo Tianyi and company exclaimed. Chapter 366. The newcomer was Tantai Lanwe, the most special of the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Tantai Lanwe was wearing a colorful dress that reached her knees, revealing half of her snow-white legs. She looked delicate and charming, like the girl next door. In terms of cultivation, Tantai Lanwe was the lowest of the 5 overwhelming prodigies at the early stages of the true mystic rank, on par with Mo Tianyi. But at this moment, Mo Tianyi's heart went numb, and his expression was solemn. The opponent was a beast tamer, and their biggest reliance wasn't on themselves but their spiritual pets. For example, the rainbow-winged bird under Tan and Lunyue's feet had battle power comparable to the peak true mystic rank. She had a total of 2 spiritual pets like this. The scariest thing was that Tan and Lanwe had a trump card called the Horned Earth Dragon Beast. It had a powerful bloodline and its battle power was comparable to the true Lord rank. Apart from that, Tantai Lanwe had more than a dozen rare spiritual pets that could deal with any situation. Furthermore, the number 1 genius of the beast tamer family, Tantai Lanue's mental energy source was extremely strong and was said to be close to the true Lord rank. Seeing Tantai Lanue's rainbow-winged bird approach, that was a beast comparable to the peak true mystic rank and its powerful aura pressured Mo Tianyi and Mo Tianyi. So, Tantai Lanue's flying speed was extremely fast and her eyes soon locked onto Mo Tianyi and Mo Tianyi with furrowed eyebrows. At the same time, a large amount of true dragon providence appeared in the river that was almost on par with Tantai Lanue's. In the cave at the bottom of the river, Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye locked onto Tantai Lanwe. This girl's mental energy source is so strong and her use of mental energy is exquisite. Zhao Feng felt troubled. This way, Tantai Lanwe would have a strong resistance against Zhao Feng's eye bloodline secret technique, and would be a level higher than Goddess Bingwei. This girl could be Zhao Feng's nemesis. Zhao Feng didn't purposely hide his aura and his god's spiritual eye locked onto Tantai Lanwe as a warning. If Tantai Lanwe was obviously hostile, Zhao Feng could only come out of seclusion and team up with Mo Tianyi and company to fight against the overwhelming prodigies. He, you are that Zhao Feng? I advise you not to waste your energy. Your eye bloodline technique focuses on the mental aspect. It has no effect on me. Tantai Lanue's divine sense was extremely powerful, one of the best among the 5 peerless geniuses. She soon located Zhao Feng's location. Zhao Feng sat cross-legged without moving, but he did not deny it either. His eye bloodline did indeed focus on mental energy, so meeting Tantai Lanwe gave him a headache. What, are you scared? Tantai Lanwe faintly smiled. She waved the 5-colored glass whip in her hand, and with a loud bang, a half-mile-long crack appeared in the river below. Waves of colorful waves rushed toward the water cave where Zhao Feng was. Zhao Feng's eyes flashed. Tantai Lanue's actions were completely provocative. Lightning fire god eye. The azure lightning flame in Zhao Feng's left eye flashed. Whoosh! A translucent thunder flame suddenly appeared on the colorful winged bird under Tantai Lanue's feet. Instantly, the colorful winged bird let out a sharp screech that could be heard from dozens of miles away. The power of lightning and fire connected the physical and mental energy dimensions. Although the colorful winged bird wasn't heavily injured, it was in extreme pain. It lost control and threw its owner, Tantai Lanwe, away. You dared to hurt my little bird? Tantai Lanwe screamed and flipped through the air before stabilizing herself in the wind. Her hair was in a mess, and she seemed to be in a ruffled state. Bo! Another sharp mental energy sound wave, accompanied by lightning, stabbed toward the colorful winged bird, causing it to go even crazier and Tantai Lanwe to panic. My eye bloodline technique might not have much effect on you with your strong mental energy source, but I'm half a beast tamer. I have all kinds of methods to make your spiritual pets lose control and injure them. Zhao Feng's wicked smile spread through the mental energy dimension. Being a beast tamer, Tan Lanwei cherished every spiritual pet. A few days ago, she had a great battle with Yu Tianhao. Several of her powerful pets were badly injured. She was heartbroken. She didn't want to meet another troublesome person who was targeting her spiritual pets. Tan Lanwei gritted her teeth and hesitated whether or not to summon the horned earth dragon beast. But at the same time, the scene of Zhao Feng and Goddess Bing Wei's battle appeared in her mind. Zhao Feng had too many methods and his defense was strong. If she didn't have absolute confidence in taking care of him, it was the same as offending an overwhelming prodigy. Just as Tan Lanwei was hesitating, another surge of dragon providence appeared in front of her. This one was even stronger than Tan Lanwei and Zhao Feng's. From far away, one could see a golden dragon providence in the sky. Looking closely, everyone jumped up in fright. The newcomer was a black-haired youth with eyes as deep as the stars. That young man's every move seemed to be filled with indescribable strength and confidence, as well as a desolate feeling of being proud of the world. "You've caught up so quickly?" Tan Lanwei's expression changed. "So." She didn't even turn her head as she flew away on her rainbow-winged bird. In the entire sacred true dragon gathering, there was only one existence that could chase after Tan Lanwei. Yu Tianhao! Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced youth both took a cold breath. The black-haired youth was Yu Tianhao, the #1 genius of the continent, and an overwhelming prodigy of dozens of generations. Although Yu Tianhao's steps seemed slow, his speed was shockingly fast as he closed in. Tan Lanwei had no thoughts of fighting. Thinking about the battle a few days ago, Tan Lanwei's heart jumped. That Yu Tianhao was a battle maniac. He fought against Tan Lanwei and Shi Qingtian, two overwhelming prodigies, and he was not at a disadvantage at all. After that battle, several of Tan Lanwei's spiritual pets were injured and even the horned earth dragon beast was injured. Shi Qingtian, whose forte was defense, also returned covered in wounds. If it wasn't for Shi Qingtian attracting more of Yu Tianhao's firepower, Tan Lanwei's losses would be even greater. Therefore, Tan Lanwei instinctively ran when she saw Yu Tianhao. Furthermore, there was Zhao Feng nearby who was a quasi-overwhelming prodigy. Before Mo Tianyi and company could let out a breath after Tan Lanwei retreated, an even more terrifying existence appeared. Yu Tianhao! These 3 words were enough to make the sacred true dragon gathering tremble and make other geniuses look up to him in fear. Other overwhelming prodigies were wary and would retreat if they met him. So. Yu Tianhao appeared in the air above Mo Tianyi in a few steps. "She runs pretty fast," Yu Tianhao murmured to himself. In terms of flying speed, he didn't have much of an advantage over Tan Lanwei. If she wanted to run, he wouldn't be able to catch her even though they were both overwhelming prodigies. Yu Tianhao stood above the river and sent off Tan Lanwei with his eyes. Suddenly, his eyes scanned the depths of the river. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man had retreated into the cave. At this moment when Yu Tianhao's eyes scanned over, an invisible aura similar to that of a true lord rank descended. Both Mo Tianyi and Zhao Feng felt it hard to breathe and their chi of true spirit was restricted. If Zhao Feng guessed correctly, Yu Tianhao's cultivation was at the peak true mystic rank and his mental energy level was at the true lord rank. "Sixth in the dragon blessing, do you dare to fight?" Yu Tianhao didn't attack immediately and a smile appeared on his face. A surge of battle intent and confidence was released. Zhao Feng's heart dropped slightly. He didn't think that Yu Tianhao would notice him and even challenge him. On the side, Mo Tianyi's emotions were complex. Yu Tianhao was a battle maniac through and through, but he rarely issued challenges to others, especially to the new generation. However, Zhao Feng had entered Yu Tianhao's eyes and was considered an opponent. To be considered an opponent by the continent's #1 genius was an honor. At least in the 2 sacred true dragon gatherings that Mo Tianyi had participated in, Yu Tianhao didn't even pay attention to him and easily defeated him. Facing Yu Tianhao's challenge, Zhao Feng was silent. In his mind, he recalled Yu Tianhao's unparalleled palm strength in the ancient arena, his unparalleled attacks like the way of the sword, as well as his strong confidence and willpower that looked down on the world. This strong will was stronger than any sword intent or blade intent that Zhao Feng had ever seen. Just this martial path intent alone could instantly shatter Tian Yunji's blade intent, destroy Tsang Yue's sword intent, and scare away the gods and ghosts. At this moment, Yu Tianhao stood proudly in the sky above the river bank. His domineering battle intent and unparalleled confidence were enough to crush his opponent's faith. The hearts of Mo Tianyi, the yellow-faced man, and Zhao Yufei shook. It was as if there was an invincible demon god standing above their heads. Their heartbeat was extremely clear at this moment. Yu Tianhao stood there and didn't move as he waited silently. He stared at where Zhao Feng was, and his eyes radiated an invisible will and battle intent. The reason he didn't attack immediately was out of respect. Yu Tianhao felt an indescribable sense of respect for that youth, who was 10 years younger than him, who was unyielding, calm, and resolute on the northern region arena, and who turned the situation around like a god at the end. Mo Tianyi and company all felt this mentality. If it was any other opponent, or even an overwhelming prodigy, Yu Tianhao would have slapped them without hesitation. From this one could see how important Zhao Feng was to Yu Tianhao. Indeed worthy of being the continent's #1 genius. I'm not your match yet. However, I can recommend an opponent for you. Zhao Feng finally spoke. The god's spiritual eye's powerful source of mental energy allowed Zhao Feng to face Yu Tianhao's battle intent without wavering. This made Yu Tianhao's evaluation of him rise. Recommend an opponent? Not only was Yu Tianhao surprised, even Mo Tianyi and company were surprised. Apart from the overwhelming prodigies, who else could fight Yu Tianhao in the sacred true dragon gathering? Go find a person called Xian Wuheng. In the past, he fought to a draw with me while suppressing his cultivation. He's in this dimension. A weird smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. He was at the crucial moment of breaking through to the true mystic rank, and whether or not he wanted to fight now wasn't the best time. However, Yu Tianhao was a battle maniac and wasn't so easy to deal with. Thus, Zhao Feng suddenly had an idea and thought of a plan to shift the blame to someone else. Yu Tianhao, didn't you want to fight me? Fine, I don't have time right now, so I'll recommend you an opponent of the same level, or even stronger. Coincidentally, Xian Wuheng was also someone that Zhao Feng couldn't see through. He would let the continent's #1 genius, Yu Tianhao, test him out. Okay. Yu Tianhao nodded his head and agreed. He seemed to be interested in the Xian Wuheng that Zhao Feng mentioned. Maybe he saw that Zhao Feng was trying to break through and didn't stay any longer. Chapter 367. In the cave at the bottom of the river. Sending Yu Tianhao off with their eyes, Mo Tianyi and company were puzzled. Only half of the stone in their hearts had been lifted. The yellow-faced man laughed. Diverting the trouble to someone else, that's a smart move. But when Yu Tianhao finds Xian Wuheng and finds that the latter isn't his opponent, what will his reaction be? Zhao Feng, are you sure Xian Wuheng can divert Yu Tianhao's attention? Mo Tianyi's face was full of doubt. The two were slightly worried. Mo Tianyi knew Xian Wuheng's strength. The two had fought before, and Xian Wuheng had even lost to Mo Tianyi. He admitted that Xian Wuheng had some skill, but if he wanted to fight an overwhelming prodigy, he was probably 1 or 2 levels away. This Xian Wuheng has always been unfathomable, and I wanted to test him. But this time, his opponent is the #1 genius of the continent. I hope he can bring us some surprises. Zhao Feng said uncertainly. Zhao Feng wasn't sure if Xian Wuheng could block Yu Tianhao or not at all. After all, Yu Tianhao was an overwhelming prodigy of dozens of generations and had surpassed the Scarlet Moon Religion Patriarch and Sword Saint Yi Wuxia. Calling Yu Tianhao the #1 genius in history wasn't an exaggeration. However, Zhao Feng did this based on instinct. There were many unsolved mysteries in his life. For example, the origin of the god's spiritual eye. What kind of existence was the owner of the god's spiritual eye? For example, the 100 graves forbidden ground. What was the meaning of the curse placed on the graves of hundreds of experts? Or the ancient arena, which was connected to the continent's history and inheritances? These were all mysteries. In Zhao Feng's heart, Xian Wuheng was also an unsolved mystery. During the Genius Summit of Sun Feather City, Xian Wuheng had already displayed the concept of intent. At that time, everyone was still at the consolidated realm. At last, Xian Wuheng suppressed his cultivation by 1 rank and was ranked first with Zhao Feng, then disappeared. After Yu Tianhao left, Zhao Feng used the time and tried to break through to the true mystic rank. In reality, there was no bottleneck to the true mystic rank. All he needed was a bit of time. Within his dantian, wisps of lightning attributed chi of true spirit swam around and refined his body, merging with his essence, aura, and soul. Zhao Feng's chi of true spirit had a wicked aura apart from the destructive element of lightning that came from the mystic flower treasured Bible. In order to make the lightning inheritance the dominant one, Zhao Feng tried his best to absorb every bit of power from the lightning profound rock and comprehend the natural and original profound meaning of lightning. Not only did Zhao Feng's true power increase, his comprehension of concepts also increased by leaps and bounds. Woo-woo! An azure true spiritual lightning flame jumped in Zhao Feng's dantian as it refined the chi of true spirit in his body. With the strengthening of the source of true spirit, the power and quality of the true spirit lightning flame would also rise. A portion of Zhao Feng's lightning fire god's eye's power came from the true spirit lightning fire. Therefore, when he was about to break through to the next realm, he purposely trained and refined the true spiritual lightning flame in his body. Time passed by slowly. On the last day, at the last moment, Zhao Feng's true spirit aura started to condense, and the aura it gave off became more profound. Amo Tianyi and company who were responsible for guarding had complex expressions. Zhao Feng's improvement in just a few days was equivalent to several years or even 10 years of hard work for a peak genius. Amo Tianyi was sure that Zhao Feng had some sort of fortune. At least the source of true spirit within his body that surpassed the early stages of the true mystic rank was hard to explain. On the other side, Zhao Yufei had been comprehending with her eyes closed, and after using the mystic flower saint liquid, she gave off a dense mental energy aura. The mystic flower saint liquid could greatly stimulate mental energy senses and help her comprehend the heaven and earth, forming a root of law. Gradually, a faint fluctuation of the root of profound appeared on Zhao Yufei's body. Junior sister Yufei has already condensed the embryonic form of a root of profound. Amo Tianyi's heart jumped. As time passed, the fluctuation of the root of profound on Zhao Yufei's body gradually grew stronger. Zhao Feng felt an unusual aura. The nearby heaven-earth yuan qi was dozens of times more active than normal. The primal qi of heaven and earth became abnormally friendly as it approached Zhao Yufei. Zhao Feng opened his god's spiritual eye and observed. In the air, countless particles of heaven and earth yuan qi were approaching Zhao Yufei from all directions in a lively and friendly manner. Zhao Yufei was like a strong iron magnet, inexplicably attracting the heaven-earth essence qi. Yufei's bloodline physique's compatibility with the yuan qi of the universe is astounding. After forming the root of profundity, she understands the mysteries of the universe. This compatibility seems to have increased tenfold. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye couldn't help but sigh. Not only that, he found that Zhao Yufei's body could absorb and merge with the pure true spirit yuan qi. Her skin was pure white and sparkling like jade. It was as if she was half true spirit. This was simply unimaginable. Along the way, even Zhao Feng had benefited quite a bit. While he was cultivating, his root of law could easily absorb the power of heaven-earth lightning. Zhao Feng seemed to be sitting next to a magnet that attracted the heaven-earth yuan qi, and the benefits were unimaginable. It seems that my advancement speed can be doubled. Zhao Feng was overjoyed. This time, Zhao Yufei was like his lucky star. First, she brought the lightning mystic stone and then attracted so much heaven-earth yuan qi. Above the river where the two of them were cultivating, The chi of heaven and earth was active and throbbing. From time to time, lightning and thunder would flash and produce all kinds of colorful lights. Luckily, most of the geniuses treated this area as a forbidden area and didn't dare come close. Many people knew that the sixth dragon blessing Zhao Feng was here, and there was also Mo Tianyi of the first tier. Without the battle power of an overwhelming prodigy, no one dared to offend them. The other overwhelming prodigies also knew about the situation here. Yu Tianhao and Tan Lanwei even passed by but didn't fight. On a mountain to the west of the river, Goddess Bingwei's eyes were cold as she looked towards the river where Zhao Feng was with hatred and unwillingness. Zhao Feng, so you've been hiding here cultivating? It looks like your true cultivation hasn't reached the true mystic rank and is still half a level away from an overwhelming prodigy. A coldness appeared on Goddess Bingwei's face. Shua! Goddess Bingwei's figure flashed and disappeared from the mountain. She didn't fly towards the river where Zhao Feng was but in the opposite direction. This Zhao Feng's bloodline power counters mine and his defense is strong. I alone can't do anything to him. Goddess Bingwei wasn't blinded by hatred. Even if she went over now, facing Zhao Feng, Mo Tianyi and company teaming up, she wouldn't be able to gain any advantage. Therefore, Goddess Bingwei soon thought of a plan. Find helpers. As long as she found another overwhelming prodigy that wasn't countered by Zhao Feng, their chances of winning would increase greatly. Apart from her, there was also Yu Tianhao, Taiyun Shuangzi, Tan Lanwei and Shi Qingtian. First, Goddess Bingwei eliminated Yu Tianhao from the first one. Yu Tianhao's personality was prideful and disdained teaming up against someone, especially someone below the overwhelming prodigy rank. In the entire sacred true dragon gathering, there was no one that Yu Tianhao needed to team up against. Next was Taiyun Shuangzi. Taiyun Shuangzi is strong but cruel and cunning. It'll be difficult to work with him, but it's worth a try. Goddess Bingwei's eyes twinkled. Then there was Tan Lanwei and Shi Qingtian. Goddess Bingwei once again eliminated Tan Lanwei. Previously, Tan Lanwei and Shi Qingtian teamed up to fight Yu Tianhao but didn't get the upper hand at all and instead suffered heavy losses. Goddess Bingwei's sneak attacked Tan Lanwei and had a hard battle. Because of this, Tan Lanwei's losses increased and she hated Goddess Bingwei. This way, the only people she could choose to work with were Taiyun Shuangzi and Shi Qingtian. Taiyun Shuangzi, twin brothers, they have twice the strength of others of the same level. Shi Qingtian, he has the stone-hard bloodline, his defense is extremely strong and he once took Yu Tianhao's attack head-on. He also has the gravity talent. Goddess Bingwei had an idea to find these two overwhelming prodigies. In the light barrier, the auras of the overwhelming prodigies were extremely obvious. Not long after, Goddess Bingwei found the bloodthirsty Taiyun Shuangzi. Of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, Taiyun Shuangzi's dragon blessing was just below Yu Tianhao's. Zhizhe, Ice Beauty, what do you need from us brothers? Taiyun Shuangzi had 2 heads and 4 eyes that controlled the sword and blade respectively like a monster of slaughter. One of the heads still had some flesh and blood at the corner of its mouth and it licked its lips. Taiyun Shuangzi's eyes were filled with greed and lust as they scanned Goddess Bingwei's body, especially her chest and thighs. Goddess Bingwei's eyebrows furrowed in obvious disgust. If it was anyone else, she would have used an extreme northern mystic ice wind to leave an ice stick. But Taiyun Shuangzi was an overwhelming prodigy on the same level as her, and had the strength to challenge Yu Tianhao. River Cave. Wen Zhao Feng's body was surrounded by a layer of azure lightning that released a faint glow. This lightning seemed to have an incredible intelligence, and was ever-changing, sometimes turning into spiderwebs, other times into sharp swords, whips etc. A azure lightning mystic flower symbol appeared on Zhao Feng's forehead and was completely different to the original lightning inheritance symbol. His aura was no longer the destructive power of lightning. Instead, there was a sense of spirituality that was more compatible with nature. Inside his dantian was a deep azure source of true spirit. Whether it was in terms of purity or capacity, it was twice as pure as before. Crack! The lightning mystic stone in Zhao Feng's hand exploded into a pile of dust. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man, who were guarding the entrance, let out a sigh of relief with complex expressions. At this moment, Zhao Feng, from inside to outside, felt like he was a brand new person. His gaze was as deep as lightning. His elegant blue hair was like a dream in the water, and the azure lightning flower mark between his eyebrows added a mysterious and evil charm to it. From a glance, he seemed to be a lord of the wicked path, confident and devilish. Zhao Feng, your speed of advancement is faster than I imagined. But you've just reached the true mystic rank, shouldn't you consolidate it? Mo Tianyi saw Zhao Feng stand up and couldn't help but ask. Chapter 368. There's no time. Prepare to fight. Zhao Feng stood up and his eyes were like lightning as he stared coldly towards the west. Mo Tianyi and the yellow man's expressions changed dramatically. What kind of opponent forced Zhao Feng to come out of seclusion before he could even consolidate his cultivation? Shua! Leaving behind a ghostly afterimage, Zhao Feng's figure disappeared. So fast! The yellow-faced man's mouth was wide open and he couldn't even react. This movement skill is weird and seems to be able to fool people's mental energy senses. Mo Tianyi barely caught a blurry figure and saw some clues. So, Mo Tianyi reacted and immediately chased with the yellow-faced man following closely behind. At this time, Zhao Feng had already flown above the river zone and stared coldly at the forest to the west. After a while, the faint figure of a golden dragon blessing appeared in the air above the forest. To be able to sense the dragon blessing from so far away, he's probably an overwhelming prodigy. Mo Tianyi's heart dropped, but thinking about the quasi-overwhelming prodigy next to him, he couldn't help but feel hopeful. Zhao Feng stood silently in the air with a solemn expression. When the aura of the dragon blessing became stronger, the illusory aura of the golden dragons of fortune. No, there were two of them. Not good, there's two overwhelming prodigies. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man's expressions changed dramatically. It was no wonder that the usually calm Zhao Feng was so solemn. Run! The same thought flashed through Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man's mind. One overwhelming prodigy was scary enough, but now there were two of them. How was he supposed to fight them? You guys go back first and protect Yufei. Zhao Feng's eyes flashed, and he took a deep breath. If it was under normal circumstances, he would retreat without hesitation if two overwhelming prodigies appeared. However, at this moment, Zhao Yufei was at the crucial moment of breaking through to the true mystic rank. Therefore, Zhao Feng decided to stall for time. If she really couldn't drag it out, then Zhao Yufei could only temporarily lose the chance to advance to the true mystic rank. In any case, she had already condensed the embryonic form of a root of profound, so advancing was only a matter of time. Moreover, Zhao Feng had just come out of seclusion and wanted to feel the progress of his strength. You have to be careful by yourself. If you really can't do it, then I'll have to trouble junior sister Yufei. Mo Tianyi stared deeply at Zhao Feng before retreating with the yellow-faced man. Putting himself in their shoes, if he were to face two peerless prodigies at the same time, he would definitely retreat without hesitation. Zhao Feng floated in the air above the river zone. His face was solemn and his eyes were cold. Gradually they turned cold. Pong! His silhouette flickered as he approached the two heaven's favorites in a ghostly and unpredictable manner. Rather than passively defending, it was better to take the initiative to attack. The reason why Zhao Feng did this was because he did not want the battle to affect Zhao Yufei's seclusion. In the wild forest of the hills, on a large tree with luxuriant leaves. That brat seems to have found us, a bronze-like giant said in a low voice. When he spoke, the ground seemed to tremble and the tree he was on started to creak as if it was going to break at any moment. Shi Qingtian, as long as you and I work together, even Yu Tianhao will lose. Goddess Bingwei revealed a cold smile. According to the original plan, Goddess Bingwei first went to find Taiyun Shuangzi to work together, but this cruel conjoined people were too arrogant and disdainful and almost started fighting. After that, she went to find the more honest Shi Qingtian. At the start, Shi Qingtian was also unwilling and felt that two overwhelming prodigies teaming up against a black horse was a loss of face. Goddess Bingwei's lips were almost dry as she tried to persuade him. She even promised that if they succeeded, Xiao Feng's dragon blessing would all go to Shi Qingtian. Finally, Shi Qingtian was moved and finally agreed. After all, once Xiao Feng's dragon blessing was taken away, any overwhelming prodigy would have a chance to come first. Therefore, the scene in front of them appeared. Goddess Bingwei and Shi Qingtian teamed up and secretly approached Xiao Feng. According to the plan, once they got close, the two of them would work together to launch a lightning-fast attack that would kill Xiao Feng and leave him no path of retreat. However, before the two even got close, they were discovered by Xiao Feng. Shi Qingtian's face went faintly red. If other people knew that two overwhelming prodigies teamed up against a new person and even tried to ambush him, how would they have any face left? Right at this time, a burst of laughter sounded. Good, good, good! Two overwhelming prodigies, come at me together! The laughter shook heaven and earth and spread for dozens of miles. This brat was arrogant. The two overwhelming prodigies paused. Of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, apart from Yu Tianhao, no one had ever fought one against two. Xiao Feng's tone was full of disdain towards the two. What was more subtle was, Xiao Feng's voice was very loud and spread for dozens of miles. Many geniuses heard the news and came over. This brat's so cunning! Goddess Bingwei sensed something. Indeed, Shi Qingtian's face went red as he roared angrily. I, Shi Qingtian, am enough to deal with a brat like you. He had no enmity with Xiao Feng and couldn't lower his face to team up against a new black horse, even the number 1 black horse. Don't fall for it! Goddess Bingwei panicked. Goddess Bingwei, don't worry. My bloodline and cultivation method can definitely counter him. Don't interfere, just stop this brat from running away. Shi Qingtian said in a low voice and warned Goddess Bingwei not to interfere. In front of everyone, even if Shi Qingtian knew that Xiao Feng was trying to provoke him, he had to accept it. This was Xiao Feng's plan, or rather, an overt plot. The goal was to stall for time for Zhao Yufei. Fine. Goddess Bingwei nodded her head helplessly. Thinking about it, Shi Qingtian's cultivation method at least wouldn't be countered by Xiao Feng and should be able to win. The worst result would be both sides being heavily injured and Goddess Bingwei would be able to reap the benefits. In the air above the river, Shi Qingtian was like a small giant, and his body seemed to be made of metal. His height was more than half that of a normal person. Wherever he passed, an indescribable heavy pressure would come from the surroundings. Dong! Dong! With every step he took, a huge pressure surged forth, like a huge mountain. Xiao Feng, who was far away, felt his body become heavy and his blood and qi of true spirit were blocked. Shi Qingtian, the only overwhelming prodigy that trains in the body. Just his body alone can suppress the late stages of the true mystic rank. He has the rare stone heart bloodline and his defense is extremely strong. Xiao Feng murmured in his heart. In the first round he had seen every overwhelming prodigy's battle style. This Shi Qingtian's power and body was definitely the strongest of the sacred true dragon-gathering geniuses. That invisible, heavy pressure came from Shi Qingtian's body. When one's body was trained to a certain level, the body itself could release an invisible power that could suppress beings to death. Those under the true mystic rank probably couldn't even move in front of Shi Qingtian, and might even spit out blood. Between the river, Xiao Feng and Shi Qingtian didn't give way to each other, and quickly closed in on each other. 10 miles. 9 miles. 7 miles. The distance between the two was slowly closing. Up until 3 miles. Shi Qingtian stomped heavily on the ground and with a boom a hole several yards wide was left on the ground. He was like a heavy yellow stone cannonball that charged towards Xiao Feng. Whoosh! A mountain-like pressure surged over from the surroundings. Even a great hall made of iron and stone would collapse in an instant. Shi Qingtian's explosive speed had reached a shocking level and was close to the limits of the true mystic rank. In an instant Shi Qingtian was within a mile radius and suddenly attacked. Roar! The giant man, who looked like he was carrying the world on his shoulders, let out a soul-shaking roar, and a terrifying shockwave swept across a radius of 1 to 2 miles. Whoosh! A forest and a hill beneath them fell to the ground. Bao Feng circulated his qi of true spirit to protect his vitals. Even so, he was pushed back several yards by a large wave and his eardrums hurt, and he almost spat out blood. Shi Qingtian's body was extremely strong, and his qi of true spirit was dominating. That roar alone was enough to make most geniuses surrender. Lightning and lightning! Zhao Feng's expression went cold as he swiped at the air with one hand, and the lightning yuan qi above his head started to roar. Chiu! An azure lightning as thick as an arm flashed with a faint purple light as it slashed across the sky and landed heavily on Shi Qingtian's body. In an instant, everything within a radius of several hundred feet was scorched, and the trees were set ablaze. The lightning was an attack that Zhao Feng had comprehended after his root of law had stabilized and fused the lightning inheritance and the lightning intent within the lightning mystic stone. This kind of attack used the power of the heaven-earth lightning, and had high requirements for the root of law as well as the comprehension of lightning and lightning. This brat's strength has risen so quickly. Goddess Bingwei, watching from afar, was slightly surprised. The power and damage of that lightning just now was almost at the level of an overwhelming prodigy's attack. More importantly, Zhao Feng didn't use his bloodline power or the god's spiritual eye. Of course, Goddess Bingwei wasn't worried. Shi Qingtian's defense was the same as her, and amongst the 5 overwhelming prodigies, he was one of the best and stronger than the other overwhelming prodigies. Boom! Lightning exploded, but Shi Qingtian's figure didn't move. His entire body had a hard, brownish-yellow shell, like that of a stone. There was only a tiny, barely noticeable black mark left on his skin. A layer of crystal yellow light flowed down, and it showed signs of gradually healing. What powerful defense! This Shi Qingtian has an earth attribute bloodline and doesn't need to work hard to comprehend the root of law. Even if Zhao Feng had prepared his defense, he was still shocked. That attack just now was just a test, but its power couldn't be underestimated. Even Mo Tianyi, who was at the first tier, would find it hard to deal with it, not to mention using his body to block it. Ha! Blue-haired brat, your strength is only SOSO. It seems like it was just your luck that you were able to fight Goddess Bingwei to a draw. Shi Qingtian roared as he charged towards Zhao Feng with a mountain-like brown-yellow light. Rumble! Everywhere the bronze-like giant passed, the mountains, rivers, and trees collapsed and dust rose. Zhao Feng's figure was so small as if he was suppressed to the point where he couldn't move and didn't even have the ability to resist. Zhao Feng's eyes were cold like lightning, and his blue hair danced in the wind. The green lightning flower mark on his forehead flashed, making him look like the ruler of the evil path. Shwa! The electric light let out a sizzling sound, leaving behind a phantom image in its place. Shi Qingtian's eyes blurred and lost sight of Zhao Feng. Pun! Suddenly, a foot wrapped in lightning kicked towards his noisy mouth. Chapter 369. Pun! Fu! As the lightning shifted, a cold figure with elegant blue hair appeared above Shi Qingtian's head. Green lightning gathered in his leg and kicked Shi Qingtian's mouth. Woo! Shi Qingtian's figure stopped, and his voice stopped. His expression and actions were as if he had eaten a pile of shit and choked on it. The geniuses watching from afar were tongue-tied and stunned. Goddess Bingwei's phoenix eyes were dazed. Time seemed to freeze at this moment. Zhao Feng's kick not only landed on Shi Qingtian's mouth, the tip of his foot also protruded into Shi Qingtian's mouth. Instantly, the edge of Shi Qingtian's mouth was scorched black. An overwhelming prodigy like him had finally paid the price for underestimating his opponent. However, Zhao Feng didn't have the upper hand. What a strong body! Zhao Feng's kick seemed to have landed on a mountain, and his foot went numb. Shi Qingtian reacted and roared, causing the earth to tremble as his fist punched towards Zhao Feng. Simple and simple. Before the fist even arrived, the wind from it could make normal true mystic ranks spit out blood. Once hit by the fist, the result would be unimaginable. Shwa shwa! Leaving behind an afterimage, Zhao Feng flew dozens of yards behind Shi Qingtian. In terms of speed, Zhao Feng was stronger than Shi Qingtian. Of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, Shi Qingtian's body was the strongest and his defense was almost unparalleled. Only his speed was average. Ice Lightning Mystic Flower. Zhao Feng raised his palm and merged his bloodline power with his qi of true spirit. An aura of ice and lightning instantly enveloped Shi Qingtian's body. Boom! A flower of ice and thunder several dozen zhang in diameter blossomed magnificently. Lightning and thunder exploded as cold light wreaked havoc. After reaching the true mystic rank, Zhao Feng's power of ice and lightning was more perfect, and its power increased greatly. In these few days of seclusion, Zhao Feng had absorbed the power of the lightning profound stone, and comprehended the pure origin of lightning and thunder. This allowed Zhao Feng's control over the power of lightning and thunder to reach a whole new level. Zhao Feng's lightning inheritance had vaguely touched the highest 3rd level, and it had gradually broken away from the shackles of the original inheritance. It had merged with the profound meaning of the lightning profound stone and the essence of the mystic flower treasured Bible. This palm should be able to threaten the peerless geniuses. Zhao Feng narrowed his eyes slightly. With a flash of lightning, he appeared above Shi Qingtian's head again. After the dust and light dispersed, Shi Qingtian's brownish-yellow shell, that looked like stone, had threads of crystalline yellow luster on its surface. He was actually unharmed. Hiss! Zhao Feng sucked in a cold breath. His god's spiritual eye saw through Shi Qingtian's body and found that the surface of his skin had almost turned into stone, almost exceeding the limits of flesh and blood. That stone-like outer shell had a strong immunity to lightning, ice, and other kinds of attacks. It's useless. Shi Qingtian's body defense is invincible under the true Lord rank. Only someone with an extremely corrosive bloodline or a wood attribute cultivation technique can pose a threat to him. Goddess Bingwei, who was watching from afar, wasn't surprised. Of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, only Goddess Bingwei's mystic ice jade charming body's defense could be compared to Shi Qingtian's, but in terms of strength, it was still miles away. Zhao Feng's attacks mainly contained the elements of lightning and ice, while the mystic flower treasured Bible was wicked and didn't have strong elemental attributes. However, neither lightning nor ice could counter Shi Qingtian's earth element. Zhao Feng obviously didn't specialize in the wood element, or dark corrosive skills. Blue-haired brat! You'll pay the price for your ignorance! Shi Qingtian roared towards the sky, raising both his arms high up. The surface of his stone skin shone with a strange earthen yellow profound light before disappearing. Not good. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye sensed something. The next instant, his body fell down as if it was 10,000 pounds. An invisible force pulled Zhao Feng down bit by bit. In terms of speed, Zhao Feng had merged with the lightning inheritance and the mystic flower treasured Bible, so he obviously surpassed Shi Qingtian. However, if there was 100,000 pounds on his body, no matter how fast he was, his speed would be reduced. Pun! Zhao Feng's figure landed on the ground and his breathing became heavy as his body was under great pressure. With every step he took, he had to expend several times more strength than usual. It could be said that every step was extremely difficult. Humph! This is Shi Qingtian's bloodline talent gravity domain. Although Shi Qingtian's speed isn't fast, his bloodline talent can greatly reduce the opponent's speed. Goddess Bingwei snickered coldly. This was also why if she teamed up with Shi Qingtian, even Yu Tianhao would most likely be defeated. Shi Qingtian's gravity domain along with her domain of ice could seal off normal true lord ranks. Breaking Mountain Fist. Shi Qingtian's fist gave off a layer of crystal yellow ripples. The air and the ground constantly trembled. It was as if his fist was pushing a giant mountain. Under the gravity domain, Zhao Feng's speed was reduced by 60 to 70% and was even slower than Shi Qingtian. The latter was like a fish in water. Pun! Boom! Shi Qingtian's terrifying fist locked onto Zhao Feng and he couldn't dodge it. Zhao Feng felt a sense of danger and without hesitation, he took out the 3-flowered treasured lotus, and a throne appeared behind him. It was as if the power of the immemorial era had passed through space. Ice lightning break! Zhao Feng thrust out his palm and a giant figure of ice roared like a dragon, accompanied by a flurry of lightning. This palm was more focused on the condensation of ice. A layer of frost immediately condensed in all directions, and icy winds and cold currents wreaked havoc. Shi Qingtian was more or less affected, and every bit closer he got to Zhao Feng would decrease his speed. This move, it's obvious that he secretly learned the secret art of the profound ice inheritance. Goddess Bingwei, who was watching from afar, couldn't help but grit her teeth. Goddess Bingwei's cultivation technique's power wasn't as great as its speed reduction, freezing and freezing. Her opponent would have already turned into an ice statue when she got close, but unfortunately Zhao Feng countered her. Xiao Feng's ice lightning break had stolen some of Goddess Bingwei's skills and used it on his bloodline power. Boom! Shi Qingtian finally got close to Zhao Feng and took a blow from the three-flowered treasured lotus. The petals of the three-flowered treasured lotus instantly cracked, and the light dimmed by more than half. Zhao Feng used the force of the three-flowered treasured lotus to fly back dozens of yards before his Yin shadow cloak flapped and his figure disappeared. With the help of the three-flowered treasured lotus, Zhao Feng flew back dozens of yards, and with a shake of the Yin shadow cloak, his figure disappeared. Shi Qingtian, who had the advantage, found that Zhao Feng had disappeared and couldn't help but watch. He was confident that in the gravity domain, Zhao Feng's speed would be reduced by more than half, and he would have no advantage at all. At this moment, Shi Qingtian let out a breath after successfully suppressing Zhao Feng. Before fighting, he didn't think that the number one black horse of the new generation would be so hard to deal with. Shwa! A mile away, the dim lightning figure turned into Zhao Feng's figure. This Shi Qingtian is actually suppressing me. The speed that Zhao Feng was so proud of was greatly reduced in front of Shi Qingtian. In reality, any genius that was skilled in speed would be at a disadvantage in front of Shi Qingtian. At this time, Zhao Feng had already escaped from Shi Qingtian's gravity domain. The range of the gravity domain didn't exceed 100 yards. Looks like close combat is no good. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye quickly spun and redesigned his strategy. Once he got close, Zhao Feng's speed would be countered. Strong defense, strong close combat, average speed, slightly clumsy. A cold and wicked smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. Shwa! A crystal blue bow appeared in his hand, and the three silver arrows instantly returned to their positions. Long-range weapon! Shi Qingtian's expression changed slightly when he saw the change in Zhao Feng's body. Shi Qingtian obviously knew his weakness. Close combat was strong, but long range and air combat weren't his forte. Zhao Feng quickly found his opponent's weakness after probing. Roar! Shi Qingtian roared and charged towards Zhao Feng with a yellow gust of wind. Being an overwhelming prodigy, Shi Qingtian's speed wasn't slow and was at least faster than those at the late stages of the true mystic rank. His short burst speed was also shocking as he chased after Zhao Feng. Eye of Eye Soul! Zhao Feng's left eye was like an endless abyss, and an invisible coldness seeped into the mental energy dimension. Shi Qingtian only felt his heart go cold, and his speed instantly decreased. An extreme coldness froze his consciousness and ignored the defense of his stone skin. Mental energy attacks could ignore the physical dimension. Even if Shi Qingtian's stone skin was 10 times stronger, it wouldn't be of any help to the Eye of Eye Soul. On the contrary, it would be useful against the lightning fire god's eye. See! Shi Qingtian's speed decreased by half and his movements became stiff. He was a body cultivator, and his mental energy source wasn't strong, and was even more clumsy facing the Eye of Eye Soul. Hee hee! Zhao Feng stood in the distance, a knowing smile on his face. The Eye of Eye Soul that didn't have any effect on Goddess Bingwei had such an obvious effect on Shi Qingtian. Brat, you! Shi Qingtian trembled and roared in anger, but his expression was frozen. His body temperature was obviously hot, but the coldness seemed to cover his entire body. His thoughts were frozen, and he was clumsy. Bun! Bang! So Zhao Feng stood far away and slowly pulled the bowstring. The Luoho Bao released an icy blue light, and shot out arrows of ice and lightning that landed on Shi Qingtian's body with a series of explosions. Shi Qingtian howled, but the distance between him and Zhao Feng seemed to be an endless ice mountain. Boom! The power of ice and lightning condensed and exploded on Shi Qingtian's body again and again. Unfortunately, the power of ice could slow down and condense, while the power of lightning had a numbing effect. With each arrow, Shi Qingtian's body would stiffen, and with the Eye of Ice Soul, the effect was multiplied. The Eye of Ice Soul isn't strong in an instant, but it's suitable for a long time. Zhao Feng opened the Eye of Ice Soul and continued to lock onto Shi Qingtian. The Eye of Ice Soul was a mental energy attack, and his mental energy source was strong, so his endurance didn't need to be said. 10 breaths later, Shi Qingtian's body was covered in ice and black smoke rose from his body. He paused with each step and stopped with each step. Zhao Feng used the Eye of Ice Soul and the Luoho Bao to successfully control the situation. His attacks were also very shameless, as he continuously shot at a joint on Shi Qingtian's leg. No matter how strong a defense was, if there was a single point that was constantly attacked, even if it was impregnable, it would still be breached. How can it be like this? Goddess Bing Wei, who was watching from afar, paled, unable to believe what had just happened. Of the 5 prodigies, apart from Yu Tianhao, she couldn't think of a second person that could force Shi Qingtian to this level. Chapter 370. This was a battle between heaven's favorites. So naturally, there were many spectators. Inside the light membrane space, within a radius of 100 miles, the number of geniuses who were secretly watching the battle increased from a few people to a dozen, then a few dozens. On a lone peak in the northwest corner, a ferocious 2-headed, 4-armed Siamese was watching the battle from afar. Zhe. It's best if we wait until they're both heavily injured before we charge over and destroy them. Taiyun Shuangshuang laughed weirdly. That bitch goddess Bing Wei wants us to fight for her. Jie, how could it be so easy? No one can order us around. Taiyun Shuangshuang said cunningly. Taiyun Shuangshuang didn't agree to work with goddess Bing Wei and instead watched from the shadows. The situation was going smoothly, and goddess Bing Wei and Taiyun Shuangshuang went to fight. The prey in the eyes of the overwhelming prodigies was unimaginably strong and was fighting against the overwhelming prodigies. The stone man has been completely suppressed. The stone man can't even fight back against that guy. Taiyun Shuangshuang's 2 faces were filled with shock as he stared at the battlefield in disbelief. Between the rivers, Zhao Feng used his Eye of Ice Soul and froze Shi Qingtian's consciousness as he sped around. Swoosh, swoosh, swoosh. Every time the Luoho Bao's ice and thunder arrows attacked, Shi Qingtian would feel a chill run down his spine. Roar! Shi Qingtian roared towards the sky and almost went crazy, but he couldn't change the fact that he was slow and stiff. No matter how strong he was, he couldn't even get close to his opponent. How sad was this? Although his defense was strong, Zhao Feng's Luoho Bao continued to attack his knees and the damage continued to accumulate. As time went on, Shi Qingtian's consciousness was slightly injured. This was because he had a soul treasure that could block and weaken mental energy attacks, or else the damage to his consciousness would be several times worse. It was obvious that Shi Qingtian's seniors had prepared a soul treasure before the sacred true dragon gathering. Ancient Colosseum. On the spectating stand and stage, the experts of the continent, including some sovereigns, were all watching this battle. Zhao Feng! Zhao Feng! Some of the younger generation spectating the battle couldn't help exclaiming in excitement and worship. Many people had personally witnessed this youth's miraculous rise step by step. I can't believe he became a new peerless prodigy in such a short time. Before, when he fought goddess Bing Wei, it was a draw, but now he's beaten Shi Qingtian to the point where he can't fight back at all. The spectator stands were bustling with noise. More than 99% of the people were paying attention to this battle. From the start of the sacred true dragon gathering until now, a new genius had successfully defeated the overwhelming prodigies and created a new glory. Junior brother Zhao, you were actually able to reach this step. I will definitely bring this good news back to the 13 countries and the Broken Moon clan to master. Tears welled up in Yangon's eyes as his body trembled with excitement. At this moment, he was overjoyed to the point of insanity. The Broken Moon clan has such a genius! When Brother Zhao returns to the 13 countries, he'll definitely change the situation in the cloud area. Yangon was pleasantly surprised and expectant. With Zhao Feng's current growth rate, his strength would definitely increase after the sacred true dragon gathering ended and he entered the inheritance. On the stage, the 9 sovereigns silently watched the battle between Zhao Feng and Shi Qingtian. Zhao Feng has indeed reached the level of an overwhelming prodigy. This is the 6th overwhelming prodigy. Will there be a 7th or even more? The bronze-skinned deputy palace lord murmured with expectation in his eyes. At this moment no one doubted Zhao Feng's strength or his status as an overwhelming prodigy. Becoming an overwhelming prodigy at the age of 17. In this era, only Yu Tianhao and a few other overwhelming prodigies could be compared to him. This Zhao Feng's strength isn't much different from Shi Qingtian, but he can always find the flaws of others. The mystic sword sovereign sighed. That's right, no one is perfect and there's no perfect skill in the world. This Zhao Feng can always find the flaws of others. That's his trump card. The Green Moon Sovereign nodded her head in agreement. She had been paying attention to Zhao Feng for a long time, and at the beginning it was because of the little thieving cat. But if this continues, Shi Qingtian's leg might be crippled. A sovereign's eyebrows furrowed. Every overwhelming prodigy was a prodigy that would only appear once in several generations. They could be said to be the future sovereigns that would decide the fate of the continent. If allowed, the Sacred Alliance wouldn't let any accidents happen to any overwhelming prodigy, even if they were crippled. Within the bubble of light, Shi Qingtian's knee was suffering from the continuous attacks from the Luoho Bao, and he was limping as he ran. He shot dozens of arrows. Each arrow is filled with ice and lightning and is enough to threaten an overwhelming prodigy. But he's only lightly injured. Zhao Feng, who was in the middle of drawing his bow, was also surprised. Even someone at the true lord rank would lose a layer of skin if they didn't die from this many arrows. Of course. In just a dozen or so breaths, the outcome of the battle was decided. Shi Qingtian's mind was injured and his mental energy reaction was slow. His knee was injured and his speed decreased. Even in close combat, Zhao Feng could crush Shi Qingtian. Shameless bastard! Don't be arrogant! Goddess Bingwei reacted and charged towards Zhao Feng in a streak of cold light. At this moment she couldn't care about what she promised Shi Qingtian. It's too late. Zhao Feng smiled and put away the Luoho Bao as an azure lightning flame flashed in his left eye. Lightning Fire God's Eye. Zhao Feng's Lightning Fire God's Eye first locked onto Shi Qingtian. Not good! Tell him to stop! The expressions of the sovereigns on the stage changed. Before this, Zhao Feng's ice and lightning attacks had continuously damaged Shi Qingtian's body. Shi Qingtian's stone-like body became incomparably cold, hard, and brittle. The cold power of the Eye Soul continued to freeze his mind. If he were to launch another attack and instantly explode with the super-powerful Thunder Fire God's Eye, turning from extreme cold to extreme heat, it would bring great harm to Shi Qingtian, whether it was his body or his spirit. However, even if they knew this, the sovereigns on the stage couldn't stop it. The sacred true dragon gathering had lost control of the Sacred Alliance, and was controlled by the ancient arena. At this moment, Shi Qingtian also felt a fatal sense of danger. He tried his best to kneel on the ground and cover his head with his hands. This way, he could avoid the fatal attack and reduce the damage by more than half. Boom! A ball of fierce lightning fire landed on Goddess Bingwei. S.I. You! Goddess Bingwei was shocked and enraged as lightning and fire exploded on her body. The transparent power of lightning and fire quickly eroded into the mental energy dimension and burned. It was obvious that the lightning fire god's eye countered Goddess Bingwei's mystic ice technique. Compared to the first round, Xiao Feng's lightning fire god's eye had reached a whole new level. In the past few days of seclusion, Zhao Feng had absorbed the purer lightning yuan qi from the lightning mystic stone, and purposely raised his true spirit lightning flame. This sudden eye flame caught Goddess Bingwei off guard, and her mind was lightly injured. Her snow-white skin was scorched black. Hu on the other side, Shi Qingtian covered his head with his hands and curled up on the ground. Finding that the lightning fire god's eye didn't land on him, he let out a long breath with lingering fear. Zhao Feng's eye bloodline was extremely fast and could definitely attack him before he could cover his head. If Zhao Feng was a bit more cunning and aimed the lightning fire god's eye at his slightly crippled knee, it could definitely cripple Shi Qingtian's leg. Why didn't he attack me? Shi Qingtian had just survived the calamity and was puzzled. At this time he found that Goddess Bingwei had been attacked by the lightning fire god's eye and was at a disadvantage. The river was in a mess. The two overwhelming prodigies, Goddess Bingwei and Shi Qingtian, one in the air and one on the ground, both seemed to be in a ruffled state. Goddess Bingwei's snow-white skin, including her face, had many black burn marks on it. Her black hair was emitting green smoke, which made her look like an explosive bird's nest. She did not look like a fairy at all. Shi Qingtian was hugging his head on the ground and one of his legs was almost crippled. His actions were slow and stiff. Ha! Outside the arena, earth-shattering laughter could be heard from the spectator stands. This Zhao Feng is smarter than I thought. The sovereigns couldn't help but smile and let out a breath. Zhao Feng didn't attack Shi Qingtian and instead used shock to intimidate the two overwhelming prodigies. This was more effective than attacking the enemy directly. Of course, more people were stunned by Zhao Feng's terrifying strength and inconceivable control. The geniuses who were watching the battle from the shadows were all shocked. What kind of scene was this? In their vision, Zhao Feng's blue hair blew in the wind as he stood with his hands behind his back. An azure lightning mystic flower flashed on his forehead, and his eyes were cold as he looked down on the two ruffled, overwhelming prodigies. This cold and evil youth was like a monarch of the evil path, controlling the situation with a single hand. Defeating one overwhelming prodigy and intimidating the other with one move. What kind of method was this? The geniuses and experts all held their breaths. Many people couldn't help but think, what kind of era was this? After Yu Tianhao and the 5 overwhelming prodigies, another monster had appeared. In a short amount of time, Shi Qingtian and Goddess Bingwei didn't move rashly. Shi Qingtian was injured and his battle power was greatly reduced, so he didn't have the heart to fight. Goddess Bingwei had been struck by the lightning fire god's eye and her mind was injured. She found that Shi Qingtian's battle power was greatly reduced and hesitated. At this point in time, Zhao Feng faced the two overwhelming prodigies confidently, and had the aura of fighting 1 against 2. Shameless bastard! Goddess Bingwei's eyes were filled with cold, killing intent and anger. Ever since she had reached the overwhelming prodigy level, when had she lost face like this? She put out the thunderfire burn on her mind and secretly communicated with Shi Qingtian with her divine sense. I've lost. Shi Qingtian smiled bitterly and didn't have the heart to fight anymore. He even felt lucky that Zhao Feng didn't kill him. Shi Qingtian retreated. Only Goddess Bingwei was left facing off against Zhao Feng. Her jade-like skin gave off a bone-chilling coldness. Chapter 371. In the air above the river. Zhao Feng and Goddess Bingwei met for the second time, and the aura of the true spirit realm in the air caused lightning to crackle and cold wind to howl. That shameless bastard! He made my sister miss the sacred true dragon gathering and secretly learned our mystic ice inheritance. Goddess Bingwei's eyes flashed with coldness and unwillingness as her chest heaved up and down. When her snow-white skin glowed as she circulated her mystic ice jade charming body to the maximum, and a powerful aura of coldness enveloped a 100-yard radius. This coldness reached the bone marrow and even had an effect similar to Zhao Feng's eye of Eye Soul. Bloodline's secret technique has been activated and my defense has increased. My damaged skin has quickly recovered and the coldness has formed a domain. Zhao Feng's heart jumped as he found that Goddess Bingwei's strength was hidden deeper than he had imagined. In just a few breaths, Goddess Bingwei's skin was flawless and as smooth as glass. The only thing that couldn't be healed in a short amount of time was the damage to her mind. This is the power of the domain of ice. Using the bloodline secret technique of the mystic ice jade charming body to freeze everything nearby. Even overwhelming prodigies of the same rank will be greatly slowed down. And Mo Tianyi floated to the surface of the water and watched the battle. Before, when Zhao Feng defeated Shi Qingtian, he was shocked, but the process was short. Now that Zhao Feng was fighting Goddess Bingwei again, and Mo Tianyi wasn't worried. After all, Zhao Feng's bloodline countered Goddess Bingwei, and the lightning fire god's eye flame also countered Goddess Bingwei. The power of the domain of ice. If this technique was combined with Shi Qingtian's gravity domain, the effect would more than double. Zhao Feng thought and understood Goddess Bingwei and Shi Qingtian's original plan. Once the domain of ice and the gravity domain was combined, even those at the True Lord rank would be restricted. No one in the sacred True Dragon gathering would be able to counter it. Extreme northern mystic ice wind. Goddess Bingwei sent out a berserk icy wind that swept across a mile radius, instantly freezing the river. Zhao Feng's blood and chi of true spirit froze. If he didn't have the corresponding bloodline power, Goddess Bingwei would be a very troublesome opponent, and he would be on the defensive. Buzz! Behind Zhao Feng, an imposing, tall, and illusory figure of ice light appeared. The silhouette became clearer, including the frozen throne. Goddess Bingwei's ice attacks were absorbed a lot when they got close. Zhao Feng's body was protected by a kind of cold energy that increased his defense, especially against ice-type attacks. Profound Ice Demon Suppression Mountain! Goddess Bingwei let out a shout and quickly closed in. She waved her hand and shot out several giant ice mountains that smashed down from the sky. What is this Goddess Bingwei planning? Zhao Feng was puzzled. With a wave of his hand, the two sources of true spirit in his body shattered the ice mountain with a few palms. Compared to before, Zhao Feng's fight with Goddess Bingwei was much easier. Hu Shua! Goddess Bingwei's eyes were cold as she closed in, and the domain of ice enveloped Zhao Feng. As Zhao Feng fell into the limitless domain of ice, the figure of ice and throne behind him continued to absorb and convert the power of the ice. Although the domain of ice is strong, its effect is greatly reduced for me. Zhao Feng was puzzled. The domain of ice used extreme coldness to freeze all beings and objects within range. However, for Zhao Feng, the effect was reduced by 70%. Goddess Bingwei was wasting her bloodline power. But soon, Zhao Feng felt something was wrong. Goddess Bingwei kept on closing in, and the domain of ice was getting closer and closer to the core. This was because the core of the domain of ice was Goddess Bingwei's mystic ice jade charming body. However, in close combat, Zhao Feng wasn't afraid of Goddess Bingwei. Pung pung! The power of ice and lightning blossomed and clashed again and again. Zhao Feng became more and more courageous, and his chi of true spirit flowed more smoothly. Goddess Bingwei couldn't gain any advantage in close combat. Zhao Feng indeed had the battle power of an overwhelming prodigy, and his bloodline countered her. Whether it was close combat or long range, he wasn't afraid. Of course, Zhao Feng's bloodline power couldn't do anything to Goddess Bingwei. Goddess Bingwei's mystic ice jade charming body's defense was extremely strong and was almost immune to normal ice attacks. Lightning Fire God's Eye. Zhao Feng used his bloodline power, and his eye flame wreaked havoc on Goddess Bingwei. However, under the domain of ice, the lightning fire god's eye's effect on Goddess Bingwei was weakened. Furthermore, Goddess Bingwei was constantly on guard against the lightning fire god's eye and wasn't caught off guard like before. Zhao Feng's lightning fire god's eye only did a small amount of damage to Goddess Bingwei's mind. Goddess Bingwei let out a muffled groan as she bit her snow-white teeth and took the attack head-on. There must be a scheme. Zhao Feng's eyes twinkled as he found Goddess Bingwei kept on fighting him. In close combat, the domain of ice did indeed affect Zhao Feng's speed. However, Zhao Feng found that Goddess Bingwei's close combat abilities were very average. She didn't have Shi Qingtian's strength nor his agility. Zhao Feng soon found a flaw in Goddess Bing Wei's battle. Ice Lightning Mystic Flower. Zhao Feng's eyes flashed as he sent a palm towards Goddess Bing Wei. Goddess Bing Wei's hands parted and her chest was exposed. Goddess Bing Wei's expression changed as she tried to dodge. Pew! But it was too late. Zhao Feng's palm landed near the chest of the girl with the snow-white skin. Zhao Feng felt something was wrong as he felt his palm hit Goddess Bing Wei's full chest. He instantly paused and his face went slightly red. In terms of defense, Goddess Bing Wei's mystic ice jade charming body wasn't any weaker than Shi Qingtian's powerful body. Not to mention the cushioning of her breasts. Furthermore, the mystic ice jade charming body was almost completely immune to ice attacks. Zhao Feng didn't even injure Goddess Bing Wei with this palm. Crap. I've been tricked. Zhao Feng realized the situation wasn't good. Goddess Bing Wei had purposely left a flaw for him. As expected, he saw Goddess Bing Wei reveal a mocking smile. He was just about to retreat when he saw Goddess Bing Wei's domain of ice reach its limit. A terrifying and fatal coldness approached Zhao Feng and his blood almost froze as he shuddered. Not only that. As Goddess Bing Wei took the attack, she opened her arms and hugged Zhao Feng. Exclamations of surprise came from all over the place. The nearby spectators all had their mouths wide open as they stared dazedly. In the ancient arena, the various experts in the spectator area were all stunned, and their jaws almost dropped to the ground. That's right! Goddess Bing Wei hugged Zhao Feng tightly. If it was any other scene, people would think they were a couple in love. Hee, Zhao Feng's been tricked. The mystic ice queen's lips curled into a smile. Zhao Feng stood still, being hugged tightly by Goddess Bing Wei. A bone-chilling coldness spread throughout his body. Being hugged by such a beautiful ice beauty should be a blissful thing, but to Zhao Feng, it was like stepping into an endless abyss of ice. Limitless coldness sealed Zhao Feng's body. In the blink of an eye, a layer of ice formed on Zhao Feng's body, and the coldness tried to freeze his qi of true spirit and bloodline power. This Goddess Bing Wei is so shameless, using her chest to tempt me and freeze me. Zhao Feng's body froze and started to tremble. He hugged Goddess Bing Wei like this. First it was a warm and fragrant body, then it was endless cold and hard. The two were inches apart. Zhao Feng's mouth almost kissed Goddess Bing Wei's jade-like face. Goddess Bing Wei was like a goddess of ice, her mouth curled with cold, killing intent. In terms of ice mastery, apart from his bloodline power, Zhao Feng was more than a level lower than Goddess Bing Wei. At such a close distance, Zhao Feng's speed advantage was useless. It wasn't that Zhao Feng didn't want to struggle. Goddess Bing Wei's cultivation was 1 or 2 levels higher than his, and her qi of true spirit was pure. She also had a bloodline power, and had cultivated the mystic ice jade charming body, so her body was stronger than his. Ice mastery was Goddess Bing Wei's domain, and she obviously suppressed Zhao Feng. Being hugged like this, Zhao Feng's body went stiff. His entire body was covered in ice, and he couldn't break free. CC. With visible speed, Zhao Feng and Goddess Bing Wei's bodies started to turn into ice. Zhao Feng's body was completely sealed in ice, and Goddess Bing Wei's mystic ice jade charming body was like a crystal, and her movements weren't affected at all. In just a few breaths, everything within 100 yards was frozen, and even those at the true mystic rank couldn't get close. In the center of the snow and ice, a male and female ice statue hugged each other like a pair of immortals. And Mo Tianyi, who was watching from the back, was dazed. Shi Qingtian sat dazedly nearby and felt a layer of ice spread over him. What was going on? The geniuses within 100 miles had their mouths opened so wide that an apple could be stuffed in. What's going on? Why are the two of them sealed in ice? Goddess Bing Wei is so cunning. I knew she didn't have any good intentions. Taiyun Shuangzi, who was on the lone peak, stared at the frozen man and woman in shock. At the same time, in the eastern direction, the heaven-earth yuan qi in the air started to tremble. One boom! The air and earth seemed to tremble. Rainbow-colored clouds of heaven-earth yuan qi roiled around the river. Sister Yufei has broken through! Mo Tianyi exclaimed. A powerful true mystic rank aura appeared out of nowhere. Limitless Yuan Qi of the Heaven-Earth Yuan Qi formed a shocking scene. Only those at the true Lord rank can summon the Heaven-Earth Yuan Qi. How is this possible? The experts in the ancient arena couldn't help but exclaim. In the air above Zhao Yufei's breakthrough, the Heaven-Earth Yuan Qi formed beautiful clouds as if it was being pampered by the heavens. What kind of bloodline is this? It's almost as powerful as the true Lord rank when it reaches the true mystic rank. The 9 sovereigns all revealed expressions of shock. This scene could only be seen in legends, such as the Scarlet Moon Religion Patriarch, Sword Saint Yi Wuxia or Yu Tianhao. At the same time, when an enormous figure appeared in the air above the ancient arena and a powerful inheritance aura swept over. Chapter 372. The instant Zhao Yufei reached the true mystic rank, a new inheritance projection appeared in the ancient arena. This inheritance projection was shockingly large and gave off a cold aura that suppressed the nearby inheritance projections. The inheritance projections that had already appeared were instantly pushed aside. Everyone focused their gazes and looked at the floating images in the sky. They saw that the palaces were like sparkling and translucent ice jade. They could only vaguely make out the outlines of the palaces that were covered in snow and ice. Mystic Ice Inheritance! The Mystic Ice Queen exclaimed as she stared at the inheritance projection in joy. The Mystic Ice Palace had guarded one of the entrances to the Mystic Ice Inheritance, and understood it extremely well. However, being one of the 4 great inheritances, the Mystic Ice Inheritance obviously wasn't so simple to be controlled by a single force. The Mystic Ice Palace only controlled one of the entrances to the Mystic Ice Inheritance. Only the sacred true dragon gathering could allow the main inheritance of the Mystic Ice Inheritance to connect with the ancient arena. One of the 4 great inheritances, Mystic Ice Inheritance. Ha ha ha, ice cultivators are lucky. The ancient arena was in an uproar. Being one of the 4 great inheritances, the Mystic Ice Inheritance only appeared once every 1,000 or even several thousand years. Once the Mystic Ice Inheritance appeared, some of the lost ice path cultivation techniques, treasures, and natural treasures would appear on the continent, which could promote the development of the ice path cultivation on the continent. It could be said that the appearance of any one of the 4 great inheritances would greatly affect the fate of the continent. Amongst them, the Heaven's Legacy Inheritance was the most ancient and mysterious. Every time it appeared, it would change the situation of the continent. This is the second of the 4 great inheritances. Unfortunately, the previous Scarlet Moon Inheritance was taken by the Scarlet Moon Demonic Religion. Sovereign Yu Tianhao sighed. The appearance of each inheritance isn't a coincidence. There must be geniuses that fit the requirements. The bronze-skinned giant's eyes turned towards the area of light. More accurately speaking, his eyes locked onto Zhao Feng and Goddess Bing Wei, who were sealed in ice. It's probably Goddess Bing Wei's powerful bloodline and ice cultivation technique that resonates with the Mystic Ice Inheritance. Adding on the fact that this generation's dragon blessing is so strong. Maybe it's related to Zhao Feng. His bloodline is also of the ice element, and it's a pure ancient bloodline. The venerables nodded in agreement. The appearance of the profound ice inheritance was naturally a good thing. The Sacred Alliance was overjoyed and had even greater expectations. After all, the sacred true dragon gathering hadn't reached the end yet. Among the 9 venerables, there was a white-robed old Taoist with a sage-like demeanor. He had been silent all this time. He only took a quick glance at the profound ice inheritance. Most of his attention was on the scene of Zhao Yufei advancing. The 10,000 ancient races are the strongest bloodlines in the universe. Any one of these bloodlines is no less valuable than one of the 4 great inheritances. The white-robed old Taoist stared at him without moving. In his eyes, the bloodline phenomenon of Zhao Yufei reaching the true mystic rank was even more important than connecting to an inheritance. The white-robed old Taoist was Zhao Yufei's master, the supreme elder of the Heaven Yuan sect, and also a member of the Sacred Alliance. The white-robed Taoist didn't speak much about this sacred true dragon gathering. This was because he was carrying a big secret like Zhao Yufei, even if he had not confirmed it yet. Apart from the other Grand Elder of the Heaven Yuan sect, no one else knew the secret. At this moment in time, Zhao Yufei had reached the true mystic rank and her bloodline was extremely shocking. Other sovereigns might sense it. Once the secret was confirmed and leaked, especially to the outer realms, it would be hard to predict the consequences of the white-robed Taoist priest. At the very least, the Heaven Yuan sect would not be able to control the situation. Therefore, the white-robed old Taoist was uneasy. Luckily, the appearance of the mystic ice inheritance shifted everyone's attention. Tao Sovereign Baiyun, that Zhao Yufei seems to be your disciple. Her bloodline sign of reaching the true mystic rank isn't simple. The Green Moon Sovereign smiled faintly and noticed the white-robed old Taoist's nervous expression. The white-robed old Taoist was Tao Sovereign Baiyun, one of the 9 sovereigns present. So it's Tao Sovereign Baiyun's disciple. Her bloodline talent is indeed strong. She might be another overwhelming prodigy comparable to Sword Saint Yi Wuxie. From the looks of it, this girl has reached the true mystic rank and her bloodline power is at least close to that of an overwhelming prodigy. The sovereigns all congratulated her and praised her. Tao Sovereign Baiyun pretended to be worried. My disciple has reached the true mystic rank too quickly and might cause her foundation to be unstable. In reality, he knew clearly that Zhao Yufei's bloodline was innately compatible with the Heaven-Earth Yuan Qi and her Qi of true spirit was extremely pure. In the light membrane space, near the river zone, colorful flowers of Yuan Qi bloomed one after another. It was a magnificent sight. The cave at the bottom of the river. Zhao Yufei's skin was as white as crystal jade, and it even appeared to be translucent. There was also a layer of faint colorful light, like a flower bud that was about to bloom. Her pretty face was tranquil, and under the illumination of the faint multicolored light, there was a kind of elegant and holy aura. With her as the center, the Heaven-Earth Yuan Qi resonated with her. She felt that the Heaven-Earth Yuan Qi was extremely close, as if it was her mother. With every breath, she could easily summon the Heaven-Earth Yuan Qi. The resonance with the Heaven-Earth was 10 times stronger than normal true mystic ranks and was comparable to the true Lord rank. In a short while, her true force cultivation easily surpassed the initial stages of the true mystic rank and approached the early stages of the true mystic rank. After breaking through to the true mystic rank, she had stepped into a whole new world. Everything happened naturally. Luckily, she was hiding in the cave and no one outside could see her actual situation. Of course, those at the true Lord rank and Sovereign rank would be able to see things from outside. This is an unprecedented cultivation bloodline. As long as one's mental energy level reaches a certain level, they can break through without any obstructions. The bronze-skinned Deputy Palace Lord couldn't help but feel envious. This bloodline suddenly made him think of something. Could it be? That's impossible. The thought was rejected by the bronze-skinned man himself. The rainbow-colored clouds lingered near the river zone for a moment before the various phenomena slowly faded. Zhao Yufei seemed to find that her foundation wasn't strong enough or else she would be able to reach the early stages of the true mystic rank in one go. If it was Zhao Feng with this bloodline, he would be able to reach the early stages or even the late stages of the true mystic rank in one go. However, there was no such thing as a perfect bloodline. Zhao Feng's bloodline leaned towards mental energy, and his mental energy level was unparalleled. On the other hand, Zhao Yufei leaned towards true force and Yuan Qi. Her true force cultivation increased by leaps and bounds, but her mental energy level couldn't keep up. In the river. In a world of ice and snow, Zhao Feng had turned into an ice statue and was hugged by Goddess Bingwei. Bastard! Let's see how long you can last. In terms of cultivation and mastery of the Ice Tao, you're far below me. Goddess Bingwei's skin turned into ice as she hugged Zhao Feng. The two maintained this hug for half the time it took to make tea. Goddess Bingwei's power of ice is still moving. This means that Zhao Feng hasn't been completely sealed in ice. Emo Tianyi didn't know what to do. He was going to save Zhao Feng, but Sister Yufei was also in seclusion. Senior brother, according to our agreement, Zhao Feng is in seclusion trying to break through to the true mystic rank and will protect him. Now that the agreement has been completed, whether we save him or not isn't part of the agreement. Furthermore, we can't get close to the depths of the ice. Probably only an overwhelming prodigy can change the situation. The yellow-faced man shook his head. Mo Tianyi was helpless but could only do this. If Goddess Bingwei used her bloodline power of ice, normal true mystic ranks would most likely be frozen as well. This was especially so in the depths of the ice where normal true mystic ranks wouldn't be able to move. Under this situation, Mo Tianyi and company decided to put Sister Zhao Yufei's safety first. Zhao Feng was, after all, an outsider. Want to completely freeze me? Don't even think about it. In the center of the ice, although Zhao Feng's body was sealed in ice, his qi of true spirit didn't give up. As long as his mental energy consciousness was there, he could control his bloodline and qi of true spirit. His ice-attributed bloodline absorbed most of the ice and allowed his bloodline to continue. Furthermore, Zhao Feng had two sources of true spirit, one for himself and one for the water-moon pirate. In this dangerous situation, Zhao Feng tried to preserve his qi of true spirit and burn the water-moon pirate's qi of true spirit. In terms of grade, the water-moon pirate's qi of true spirit was still higher than Zhao Feng's. Under the burning of his qi of true spirit, Zhao Feng's resistance increased greatly. Of course, he could only burn a small amount of his qi of true spirit, or else his body wouldn't be able to handle it, and might even explode. This brat's burning his qi of true spirit. Let's waste a bit of his energy, and maybe he'll fall back to the true human rank. Goddess Bingwei snickered coldly in her heart. At the edge of the ice-sealed area, Shi Qingtian sat on the ground and healed. Far away on the lone mountain, Taiyun Xuanzi's cunning eyes stared at the situation over here. Zhe. Beat them all up, it's best if they're all crippled and we'll kill them all at once. Taiyun Xuanzi's second brother had an expectant look. However, the battle between Zhao Feng and Goddess Bingwei lasted longer than expected. In the blink of an eye, almost an hour had passed. The battle between Zhao Feng and Goddess Bingwei had yet to be decided. In the end, she's still the overwhelming prodigy of several generations. It's all my fault for underestimating her and falling for her trap. Zhao Feng didn't dare burn a large amount of his qi of true spirit, and didn't dare burn his source of true spirit. Because his body was sealed in ice, the burning qi of true spirit lacked an outlet, and could only slowly wear it down with Goddess Bingwei. Under this situation, it was a battle of endurance. Zhao Feng didn't need to worry as he could give up the water-moon pirate's source of true spirit. Could Goddess Bingwei do that? Brother Mo, Sister Yufei has broken through. Should we call her out to help? The yellow-faced man said. No need, she's just broken through and most likely won't be able to help. Mo Tianyi shook his head. At the same time, in a secluded valley in the light membrane space. Your Xian Wuheng? The black-haired Yu Tianhao stared at the ordinary-looking man sitting cross-legged on the big rock across from him with his deep and spacious black eyes. Why did you chase me for so long? I'm not your match. You should know that no one is your match in the sacred true dragon gathering. Xian Wuheng shook his head and sighed. Chapter 373. You should know that no one is your match in the sacred true dragon gathering. Yu Tianhao didn't give up because of Xian Wuheng's words and instead revealed a surprised and solemn expression. He had a feeling that this ordinary-looking man in front of him had a unique insight, and it was very likely that he had seen through all of his weaknesses, which was why he said that. You have no path of retreat. Attack or give up the true dragon token. Yu Tianhao smiled arrogantly and floated on a rock opposite Xian Wuheng. Give up the true dragon token? Xian Wuheng sighed bitterly in his heart. This was something he couldn't do. The reason he was participating in the sacred true dragon gathering wasn't for the rankings but for the greater fortune, the inheritances. The Heaven's legacy inheritance can't be missed. This is a chance to soar. Xian Wuheng's eyes twinkled. His true dragon token glowed with a golden light, and his ranking was around the top 10. He hadn't lost a single battle and had even beaten 2 or 3 experts of the first tier. A peak true human rank cultivation and such a strong dragon blessing. The person Zhao Feng recommended is indeed not simple. Yu Tianhao's aura quickly retracted. In an instant, Yu Tianhao's cultivation was suppressed to the peak true human rank. Obviously, he didn't want to take advantage of Xian Wuheng. You won't be my match like this, Xian Wuheng said expressionlessly. Hearing this, Yu Tianhao couldn't help but laugh. Arrogant. Ancient arena, on the base of the oval stage. The sovereigns, especially Yu Xingchen, watched the confrontation between Yu Tianhao and Xian Wuheng. Xian Wuheng was a very special black horse in this sacred true dragon gathering, just below Zhao Feng. Being the #1 genius of the continent, Yu Tianhao's every action was watched. Yu Tianhao's mental energy intent is comparable to the true lord rank. Even if his cultivation is suppressed, no one would be his match. However, this Xian Wuheng is very strange. His state of mind is very profound, and he vaguely has the air of a grand master. He's always defeated the strong with a lower cultivation base. The sovereigns were slightly interested. Unparalleled under the heavens. Yu Tianhao made his move. With a wave of his hand, a beautiful aurora-like palm light tore through the air, imbued with an unparalleled will and conviction, looking down on everything. It was clearly a palm from a peak true human rank, but it had reached a level that shocked even those at the true mystic rank. Just that tyrannical and domineering willpower alone could instantly break through the enemy's willpower, shatter the void, and force back gods and ghosts. Limitless palm. Xian Wuheng was unperturbed. With one hand behind his back, he slowly swept through the void with the other. A layer of palm energy rippled like water, colorless and translucent, without any obvious elemental orientation. 1. Yu Tianhao's move, which had swept through millions of geniuses, fell in front of Xian Wuheng. It was as if it had fallen into a swamp, infinitely slowing down and weakening. The first move. It was a simple and ordinary neutralization. It didn't have the huge might that he had imagined. Xian Wuheng stood where he was, his knees slightly bent, one hand behind his back, and the other extended. His black hair danced in the wind, giving him a strange demeanor, as if he was a martial arts master. The supremacies on the oval platform exclaimed in shock. He wasn't impatient, and was extremely calm. Xian Wuheng gave off a calmness like water, as if he wasn't a youth, but a grand master. He didn't have peak talent, or a powerful bloodline. With his mortal body, he was able to create lotuses with every step he took. He was able to compete with so many monstrous geniuses of this era. Interesting. Yu Tianhao's eyes burned with battle intent, and his will became stronger. He roared and stepped in front of Xian Wuheng in one step. Close combat. Xian Wuheng was expressionless with one hand behind his back. The other hand seemed fast yet slow, hard yet soft. Pa! Pa! In the blink of an eye, Xian Wuheng and Yu Tianhao exchanged a few palms. This time, Yu Tianhao's will had been ignited and his attacks became stronger. Even at the same cultivation, Xian Wuheng found it hard to fight head-on. After all, Yu Tianhao's unparalleled in the heavens was about dominating and suppressing everything. Such a powerful martial will, such a formless mental energy, it's beyond the level of intent cultivation techniques. Xian Wuheng's expression was solemn as he understood that his opponent this time was stronger than before. Swish! His footwork changed and his palm technique combined with his movement technique. His body, palm technique, and comprehension merged into one. At that moment, Xian Wuheng gave off a feeling that he was attached to the heavens and earth, as if he had turned into nature and could contain everything. Yu Tianhao's powerful attacks were slowly dissolved by his movement technique. Boom! Boom! Pa! The two's close combat became more and more intense and dangerous. It was as if they were standing on a steel wire with a bottomless abyss below them. Many people on the spectator stand were dumbfounded and took a deep breath. What was even more amazing was that when the two fought, the stones under their feet didn't collapse and only some footprints were left. From this, one could see how much control they had over their power. Shifting stars. Xian Wuheng's palm technique changed once again. With a push and a spin, the rippling palm energy pulled Yu Tianhao's attack away. This move is interesting. Yu Tianhao's figure swayed and he was almost pulled away by Xian Wuheng's move. And this was only because of his profound mental state. If it were some other top geniuses, they might have fallen flat on their faces. Xian Wuheng didn't let go of this chance, and his palm, body, and comprehension seemed to merge into one as he slashed towards the right side of Yu Tianhao's abdomen. Each and every one of his moves and attacks drew all of his essence, energy, and spirit, not just attacking himself. Pung! This was the first time Yu Tianhao had been countered by Xian Wuheng, and was forced back several steps. He's indeed not simple. Yu Tianhao's blood seemed to boil and his battle intent became stronger. Gradually, his cultivation became stronger and stronger until it reached the true mystic rank. Xian Wuheng finally couldn't take it anymore and was forced back. There was a limit to pulling 1,000 kilograms with 4 ounces. Furthermore, his opponent's comprehension was profound and his martial intent surpassed normal blade and sword intent. 10,000 origins return! Xian Wuheng was forced to free his hands. Water-like transparent ripples spun, combining strength and gentleness. When everyone looked closely, they could vaguely see the transparent ripple-like palm energy forming an illusory Tai Chi shape. Unparalleled under the heavens. Yu Tianhao's unparalleled palm force, with the power to crush all living things, turned the hills within a radius of 100 feet into dust. However, as Xian Wuheng's hands moved, there seemed to be an invisible force field around him that sucked in all the power that came close. Using the cultivation of a peak true human rank to dissolve my early stage true mystic rank attack? Yu Tianhao was shocked. Of course, Xian Wuheng could only dissolve his attacks and wasn't a threat to Yu Tianhao, who had reached the true mystic rank. Furthermore, Xian Wuheng was using both hands for the first time. In the past, Xian Wuheng could defeat opponents of the same rank or a small rank higher with one hand. On the stage, the sovereign sighed at the battle between Xian Wuheng and Yu Tianhao. You should be able to see that Xian Wuheng has been hiding his cultivation ever since the sacred true dragon gathering. His true cultivation is at the true mystic rank. What's weird is that he doesn't have a peak talent or bloodline, the bronze-skinned giant said. This Xian Wuheng does indeed have secrets, Dao's sovereign Baiyun praised. Seeing everyone's attention move from Zhao Yufei to Xian Wuheng, he let out a breath. The feeling he gives me is that he has a lot of experience and a profound understanding. The way he uses the profound in some of his attacks is something that only we primal core realms can do. Yu Xingqian's eyebrows furrowed as he stared at Xian Wuheng. This Xian Wuheng was able to fight Yu Tianhao while suppressing his cultivation, even though the latter was only using the cultivation of the early stages of the true mystic rank. Let's say that a sovereign at the origin core realm has all the experience and comprehension from the consolidated realm to the origin core realm. If he starts cultivating from the beginning, even if he has no talent or bloodline, would he be mediocre? The mystic sword sovereign gave an example. That's a good hypothesis. There's nothing absolute in the world. Although talent and bloodline is the king, it's not the only way. The key is fortune. Wasn't the Scarlet Moon Patriarch also average talent and no bloodline? The sovereigns all agreed. Looking through the history of the continent, there were exceptions like Xian Wuheng. Between the rivers, the frozen land was in a complete mess. Zhao Feng and Goddess Bingwei hugged each other and turned into ice. As time passed, Goddess Bingwei was more and more surprised. The qi of true spirit within Zhao Feng's body was stronger than expected. It had already been an hour, and Zhao Feng had been burning his qi of true spirit. Although it was only a small amount, the burning of his qi of true spirit was extremely powerful and had a strong melting effect on ice. Furthermore, Zhao Feng's bloodline power continued to absorb Goddess Bingwei's power of ice, and his bloodline seemed to become stronger. This bitch used such shameless methods to seal me in ice. Although Zhao Feng's life wasn't in danger, he still felt sullen. He couldn't bear being hugged by an ice woman for so long. However, his body was sealed in ice and he didn't dare to burn his chi of true spirit in large amounts, much less his source of true spirit. Walla! Hoo boom! Suddenly, an earth-shattering rumble came from the river behind them. The river water was suffused with a multicolored glow, and it shot 300 m into the air. A peerlessly beautiful young girl in a violet dress with lustrous snow-white skin floated in midair, and her silk sash fluttered in the air, causing her to be extremely beautiful. Yufei! How come you're out so fast? Mo Tianyi jumped up in fright. Where's brother Zhao Feng? Zhao Yufei's eyes flashed with a bright light. She suddenly sensed something and glanced towards the cold ice sky snow region. At the center of the snow region, Zhao Feng and an ice goddess were hugging each other. That scene caused her heart to feel inexplicably downcast and cold. Let go of brother Zhao Feng. When she saw the situation clearly, coldness flashed in her eyes and she turned into a rainbow light that charged towards the center of the snow region. Huang as Zhao Yufei flew, the sky was dyed with a layer of rainbow light. Many geniuses of the true spirit realm sensed this, and their hearts jumped. What a powerful aura! It's like a true lord rank that can summon the heaven-earth yuan qi. Goddess Bingwei, who was hugging Zhao Feng, tightly gritted her teeth, and the area around her started to glow with a cold blue light. The coldness of her domain of ice rose once more. Chapter 374. Goddess Bingwei sensed Zhao Yufei's arrival and used her mystic ice bloodline to increase the power of ice to a terrifying level. She was prepared to seal the person who came to save her in ice as well. It was because of this reason that Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man didn't dare to save Zhao Feng. Normal true mystic ranks wouldn't be able to move the center of ice and might even be affected by the coldness. Sister Yufei, watch out! Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man's expressions changed, but it was too late to stop her. In terms of speed, Zhao Yufei had already surpassed Mo Tianyi. In an instant, Zhao Yufei flew above the center of ice and the coldness became stronger the closer she got. Even true mystic ranks would find it hard to reach the center of ice. Zhao Yufei's snow-white skin was sparkling, giving off a kind of translucent feeling. When the cold energy invaded her, it didn't freeze her or seal her in ice. Her body was surrounded by a rainbow glow that resonated with the heaven-earth yuan qi within a mile radius and gave off the illusion that she was at the true lord rank. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man could only watch as Zhao Yufei neared the center of ice. At this moment, although Zhao Yufei's bloodline was special and she had a half-spiritual body, a layer of frost still appeared on her body that intertwined with the rainbow glow. Break! Zhao Yufei shouted in a tender voice. Her jade-like hand emitted a sharp multicolored light. Like a multicolored blade, it transformed into hundreds of phantoms and fiercely hacked on the ice layer. Boom! Boom! Cracks started to appear on the outer layer of the frozen region, and some places even exploded. What a strong power! Her every action resonates with the power of the heaven-earth. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man were dazed. Zhao Yufei came out of seclusion, and her strength was unexpectedly strong. Although Zhao Yufei's cultivation was still at the early stages of the true human rank, her ability to resonate with the heaven-earth yuan qi was comparable to the true lord rank. Don't even think about it. Do you really think you can break through my ice seal? Goddess Bingwei's body released an even colder light and the surrounding ice quickly healed. Wisps of icy wind and cold air howled as they rushed towards Zhao Yufei. Zhao Yufei cried out in surprise. She used her secret art to resist the backlash of shattering the icy wind. In terms of strength, Zhao Yufei was still slightly weaker than Goddess Bingwei, who was an overwhelming prodigy. However, Goddess Bingwei had forgotten one point: the frozen Zhao Feng was the sixth overwhelming prodigy, an existence on the same level as her. She diverted her attention to deal with Zhao Yufei, giving Zhao Feng time to catch his breath. Taking advantage of this time, Zhao Feng burned some of his qi of true spirit to dissolve the ice-sealing cold energy in his body. Profound thunder explosion! The surface of Zhao Feng's body was covered in flower petals of lightning, and as they bloomed one after another, their power continued to surge. Boom! 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 A deafening explosion erupted from the outside of the ice layer, successfully coordinating with Zhao Yufei's attack from the inside. At this moment in time, everyone within 100 miles could hear the sound of an iceberg collapsing. The surrounding ice started to crumble layer by layer. The terrifying explosive power of the profound thunder explosion immediately hit Goddess Bing Wei, who was hugging Zhao Feng. The distance was too close. Goddess Bing Wei's body went numb and flew back dozens of yards as blood leaked from the corner of her mouth. Burning my chi of true spirit is indeed powerful. This mystic lightning explosion is a technique I created myself while I was sealed in ice by fusing the lightning inheritance, lightning mystic rock, and the profound essence of the mystic flower treasure book. Zhao Feng's figure turned into a chaotic wave of lightning that scorched the ground wherever he passed. He was like a god of destruction. The spectating overwhelming prodigies such as Shi Qingtian and Taiyun Shuangzi were all shocked. The profound thunder explosion was after all used by burning his chi of true spirit, and its power was terrifying. Before, because Zhao Feng's body was sealed in ice, he lacked an outlet and didn't dare explode out of fear of injuring himself. Brother Zhao, are you okay? Zhao Yufei tried her best to dissolve the ice and lightning around her and met up with Zhao Feng. Yufei, you've come at the right time. The two stood side by side facing Goddess Bing Wei in the air above the ruined river. Lightning fire God's eye. Without saying a word, Zhao Feng sent out an eye flame that burned Goddess Bing Wei's body. Goddess Bing Wei felt a burning pain in her mind and circulated her mystic ice jade charming body to extinguish the lightning fire. You bastard. Goddess Bing Wei's face was slightly pale as she breathed rapidly. At this point in the battle, Goddess Bing Wei had used all her methods and even used a hug to freeze an unfamiliar man, but she had still failed. Not only that, Goddess Bing Wei had expended a lot of energy, and the injury on her mind became bigger. An overwhelming prodigy and a quasi-overwhelming prodigy. It'll be troublesome if I don't leave. Goddess Bing Wei turned into a streak of cold light and escaped towards the west. Zhao Feng sent Goddess Bing Wei off with his eyes but didn't chase. He and Zhao Yufei had just broken through and hadn't consolidated their foundations, so they couldn't fight for long. Furthermore, Zhao Feng didn't have any confidence in keeping Goddess Bing Wei here. The latter's ice bloodline and mystic ice jade charming body were hard to deal with. Zhao Feng's bloodline could absorb ice attacks, and Goddess Bing Wei's bloodline had strong defense and was almost immune to normal ice attacks. It was Zhao Yufei's strength that surprised Zhao Feng. She had just broken through to the true mystic rank and already had the battle power of a quasi-overwhelming prodigy. In the middle of the river, only Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei were left standing shoulder to shoulder like a couple. Goddess Bing Wei and Shi Qingtian had both retreated. Zhao Feng gazed in the direction the two had escaped in, and a playful smile appeared on his face. Goddess Bing Wei had just escaped 100 miles when a rainbow-colored girl appeared on the lake in front of her, holding a 5-colored glass whip. Her skirt reached her knees and revealed half of her snow-white legs. Her eyes were pure and flawless. Tantai Lanwei! What's the meaning of this? Goddess Bing Wei's expression changed faintly. Hee, Goddess Bing Wei, I haven't paid you back for ambushing me before. Tantai Lanwei waved the 5-colored glass whip and a white mist appeared under her feet, covering 100 yards radius. Roar! A soul-shaking roar came from under the rainbow-dressed girl's feet, and an invisible aura made Goddess Bing Wei's breathing stop. Inside the white mist was a crocodile-shaped earth dragon the size of a hill. It was covered in brownish-yellow scales and had a crystal-yellow horn on its head. Its bloody mouth was so deep that the bottom could not be seen. It was even bigger than an ordinary house. Compared to the colossal earth dragon beast, Tantan Lanwei was as small as an ant. However, she was the owner of this powerful horned earth dragon beast. Hee, horned! Let's beat the dog when it's down. Tantai Lanwei smiled innocently, and waved the 5-colored glass whip as she stood on the horned earth dragon beast and attacked Tantai Lanwei. That momentum was like a small moving mountain, rampaging and looking down on everything. Goddess Bingwei didn't have Yu Tianhao's battle power nor Shi Qingtian's physical strength, so she didn't dare face it head on and quickly retreated. At the same time, on the other side, dozens of miles away, Shi Qingtian's steps were slightly unstable and he suddenly stopped in front of a hill. He! Shi Qingtian! We've been waiting for you for a long time. Taiyun Shuangzi laughed savagely as he held a blade and a sword and blocked Shi Qingtian's path. Shi Qingtian's forte wasn't speed and his leg injury hadn't healed yet. It could be said he had no way out and could only fight. All of this fell into Zhao Feng's eyes. Goddess Bingwei and Shi Qingtian were ambushed and chased by other prodigies after being pushed back by Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng didn't feel any pity towards this. Not long after, Zhao Feng, Zhao Yufei, Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man met up once again. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man were slightly awkward. Before, when Zhao Feng was sealed in ice, they didn't dare to help, but it was Zhao Yufei who risked everything to save him. After the danger had been resolved, Zhao Feng and Zhao Yufei had both broken through. It could be said that everyone was happy. Zhao Yufei had just broken through and needed to consolidate her cultivation. Zhao Feng, on the other hand, didn't need to do that because his root of law and cultivation had been reached before he broke through. Brother Mo, you guys protect Yufei. I'll be right back. Zhao Feng threw out a sentence, and his figure shot through the air, leaving behind a blur of lightning. Zhao Feng wasn't chasing after Goddess Bingwei or Shi Qingtian. He came to a nearby peak and opened his god's spiritual eye to look at a valley far away. Within the valley, Yu Tianhao and Xian Wuheng moved their fists, palms and legs simultaneously as they started a heart-shaking battle. The two's attacks were extremely focused, and within a radius of 100 yards, there were holes left behind. This Xian Wuheng has indeed hidden himself deeply. Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye locked onto Xian Wuheng. Xian Wuheng's profound intent seemed to rely on the limitless power of the heaven and earth. His every action and every move was perfectly merged into one. Every move and stance was exquisite and used all of Xian Wuheng's power. The heaven-earth yuan qi nearby seemed to become his shield. His opponent, Yu Tianhao, was pure and extremely strong. His will of faith was like the formless power of the sword intent and the saber intent, which could cut through the void and scare away ghosts and gods. If Zhao Feng had to choose who was stronger, it would definitely be Yu Tianhao, who had unrivaled sacred true dragon gathering battle power. However, if one had to say who was more profound, it would definitely be Xian Wuheng. 10 moves, 50 moves, 100 moves. The pace of the two's battle was sometimes slow and sometimes fast, and gave people the feeling that time and space was twisting. The spectators, whether it was Zhao Feng or the spectators in the ancient arena, all felt their hearts shake. The difference was, Zhao Feng wasn't just standing there to watch. His god's spiritual eye was open to the extreme as he dissected. He copied the scene of some of the concepts and moves, comprehending them over and over again. Due to this, Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye was circulated to the extreme in order to steal more things. At a certain moment, he suddenly had the feeling that his consciousness had jumped out of his body. Shua! Zhao Feng's view changed. He could see the battle between Yu Tianhao and Xian Wuheng from the clouds. Yu Tianhao and Xian Wuheng, who were fighting, vaguely sensed something, as if a cold eye was looking down at them from the 9 heavens. However, when he raised his head, he didn't feel anything. After 200 moves, the victor of the battle was decided. Pa! One of the figures flew out and sunk into the mountain. Chapter 375. Unparalleled under the heavens. The battle intent on Yu Tianhao's body shot into the sky as an all-powerful martial Tao will annihilated the gods and ghosts in the void, and it pushed out a palm strike that was extremely domineering and was like a gorgeous aurora. The ground faintly trembled while the clouds in the sky roiled and lost their color. At that instant, he seemed to become the only existence in the heavens and earth with a powerful will that looked down on everything. Star Passage. 10,000 Origins Return. Xian Wuheng had a solemn expression as he took a horse stance, and his hands drew a ripple in the air as he tried to absorb and redirect Yu Tianhao's palm. However, at the last moment, with the increase in his martial intent, Yu Tianhao's cultivation uncontrollably reached the late stages of the true mystic rank. Bam! Xian Wuheng's body flew back into the mountain, causing dust to rise. I've lost. If you want the true dragon token, I can give it to you. Xian Wuheng expressionlessly took out the true dragon token. In the barrier of light, winning or losing didn't mean you could take away the true dragon genius blessing. You had to take the true dragon token. The difference in cultivation as well as Yu Tianhao's unique bloodline and unstoppable martial intent meant there wasn't much suspense in this battle. You're only at the early stages of the true mystic rank, but you forced me to use the strength of the late stages of the true mystic rank to barely win. Yu Tianhao looked deeply at Xian Wuheng as if to remember the latter's appearance. However, Xian Wuheng's appearance was too normal and had almost no special characteristics. On the other hand, his calm and unhurried temperament didn't match his age. Finally, Yu Tianhao didn't take Xian Wuheng's true dragon token and flew away. In his heart, he didn't even win this battle and could even be said to have lost. Being the number one genius of the continent, Yu Tianhao had been surrounded by countless halos and had always stood at the peak of his generation. Although he didn't lose this battle, he still felt slightly defeated. Xian Wuheng sent Yu Tianhao off with his eyes and shook his head. Not taking the true dragon token was within his expectations. Ancient arena, on the base of the oval stage. Although Xian Wuheng seemed to lose in the last move, he wasn't injured at all and dissipated all the power. The Green Moon Sovereign's face didn't hide her surprise. That's fine. Howard's path of cultivation has been too smooth. It's not a good thing that he has no opponents. Yu Xingqian's eyes flashed as he fell into deep thought. As his father, he even hoped that Yu Tianhao could temper himself more and meet more formidable opponents. However, Yu Tianhao's talent and comprehension were too shocking, leaving the geniuses of his generation far behind. In the past year, Yu Tianhao purposely didn't try to break through to the true lord rank, or else this sacred true dragon gathering wouldn't mean anything to him. On the peak, Lao Feng's consciousness was in a mysterious state. It was like he had jumped out of the shackles of his physical body and was high in the clouds, watching the battle between Xian Wuheng and Yu Tianhao. A similar feeling had appeared twice before. The first 2 times an eye of heaven appeared in the sky. It consumed a terrifying amount of mental energy. This time, Zhao Feng controlled himself a little. He only peeped, but did not deliberately exert any pressure. After the battle ended, Xian Wuheng casually glanced at the sky. He appeared somewhat doubtful as he pondered. Yu Tianhao's battle power is indeed unrivaled. Even Xian Wuheng lost. Zhao Feng comprehended the scenes in the dimension of his left eye. Yu Tianhao's undefeatable willpower surpassed normal sword and blade intent. Sun Yuyue and Tian Yunji couldn't even take one hit in front of him. This power came from the heart, and Zhao Feng couldn't copy it. The god's spiritual eye's copying ability wasn't omnipotent and had its limits. Firstly, bloodline and elemental affinity. Some bloodline techniques were built on the bloodline, and even if Zhao Feng understood the theory, he wouldn't be able to use them. This was the biggest barrier. Secondly, the level of these techniques was too high, and Zhao Feng couldn't use them due to the limitations of his cultivation. For example, if Zhao Feng tried to comprehend the legendary Earth Grade techniques, even those at the Origin Core realm would find it hard, let alone him. On the other hand, Xian Wuheng's moves didn't have any obvious elemental affinity or bloodline requirements. After all, Xian Wuheng's talent was average, and he didn't have a bloodline. However, his moves were extremely profound and didn't have much of a restriction on his cultivation. Star Passage Technique, 10,000 origins return to the origin and that special footwork intent. Every movement and every move draws the essence, aura and soul of heaven and earth. A smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face as he comprehended Xian Wuheng's moves. In the end, he divided them into 3 different intents. The first, Star Passage Technique. It was an extremely profound technique that borrowed the power of gravity. The second, 10,000 origins returned to the origin. It was even higher, using an invisible technique to absorb the power of the opponent's moves and even turn it into his own. The third, merging the essence, aura and soul into one, becoming one with heaven and earth. The three intents were extremely profound and each was more profound than the last. Only the first one could be copied by Zhao Feng immediately, which was the technique of borrowing the power of gravity. The second, 10,000 origins returned to the origin, was more profound and involved Xian Wuheng's skills. Zhao Feng wasn't able to learn it immediately. The third one was even higher, and Zhao Feng found that it was how the root of law was used. Comprehending the third intent can increase the level of my root of law. Zhao Feng comprehended. This way, he focused on the third intent and merged the first into his own skill. The Lightning Inheritance and Mystic Flower Treasured Bible were top-tier inheritances and skills across the continent, but were only average in the Sacred True Dragon Gathering. Zhao Feng had to keep on absorbing and strengthening his own skill in order to reach the peak of the continent. He thought that his experience was limited in creating a new skill, but if he combined the strengths of the other skills, he could try and have some success. After a short while, Zhao Feng returned to the cave. Zhao Yufei was consolidating her cultivation and Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man were responsible for protecting her. In the blink of an eye, half a day had passed. Zhao Feng absorbed the Star Passage technique and merged it into his own skill. After that, he focused on comprehending Xian Wuheng's special intent of merging with the heaven and earth. Under this comprehension, Zhao Feng had to focus all of his mental energy and connect his root of law with the heaven and earth without any distractions. Essence, qi, and spirit became one. Every move and every stance drew upon the essence, qi, and spirit of the entire body, exploding forth with the strength of the entire body. This was mainly about movements and concepts, which were slightly easier to comprehend. Apart from simulating in his mind, Zhao Feng would occasionally stand up and move. Mo Tianyi and the yellow-faced man were surprised to find that Zhao Feng's steps had an intent similar to Xian Wuheng's. Star Passage technique, merging his mental energy into one. Zhao Feng could basically do this. The merging of his mental energy into one ignited Zhao Feng's potential and his senses reached a level that he couldn't reach normally. Zhao Feng felt his root of law's intent become clearer and his ability to communicate with the heaven-earth yuan qi increased. The qi of true spirit within his body merged with his mental energy and circulated more smoothly. No wonder Xian Wuheng's cultivation speed is so fast. Zhao Feng's mind was clear and his mental energy was stronger than ever, increasing his connection with the heaven-earth yuan qi. In just half a day, Zhao Feng felt his mental energy level rise and his cultivation increase. At this point in time, his cultivation had completely consolidated and even surpassed most early-stage true mystic ranks, heading towards the early stages of the true mystic rank. The more he comprehended, the more Zhao Feng felt that Xian Wuheng wasn't simple. Zhao Feng didn't believe that Xian Wuheng learned all of this from the clan. Therefore, Zhao Feng asked Mo Tianyi, "There's many rumors about this Xian Wuheng. It is said that he has the ability to become a self-taught genius. He has never taken a master, and can comprehend it himself. Or, from some simple cultivation methods, he can cultivate astonishing moves." Mo Tianyi said after some thought. After all, before the Sacred True Dragon Gathering, Xian Wuheng was already a genius that shook the northern continent, just below Mo Tianyi and Xia Xianshang. Just as the two of them were conversing, shouts came from above the river zone. "Chapter Leader Zhao. Chapter Leader, is he here?" A male and female voice sounded from above. Zhao Feng raised his head and was slightly surprised as he returned to the air above the river. The two were Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi. The two of them had dejected looks on their faces. There wasn't the slightest hint of dragon providence on them. What's going on? Zhao Feng realized that he had forgotten about Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi from the Iron Blood religion. After asking, Zhao Feng found out that both Jiang Sanfeng and Lin Feng's true dragon tokens had been taken. A few days ago, the two teamed up, and as long as they didn't meet the geniuses of the first tier, they could pass. But 2 days ago, their luck was bad and they were chased by Taiyan Shuangzi. Your true dragon tokens were all taken by Taiyan Shuangzi? Zhao Feng's eyebrows furrowed. He had seen Taiyan Shuangzi's brutality before. As long as someone didn't obediently hand over their true dragon token, Taiyan Shuangzi would beat them to death. I almost lost my life. My right arm was broken. Jiang Sanfeng's face was full of humiliation. Only now did Zhao Feng realize that the upper half of his robe was empty. If we didn't find a new target, Taiyan Shuangzi might have beaten us to death, Dai Yi said with lingering fear. In this dimension, once a true dragon token was taken, it was hard to get another one back. As time passed, the number of true dragon tokens decreased and the geniuses that obtained them were undoubtedly strong. The two teamed up but still couldn't last more than a few moves. Originally, the two were dispirited and gave up. But recently he suddenly heard that the dimension had given birth to a sixth overwhelming prodigy, Zhao Feng. The two were overjoyed and came to find Zhao Feng. Don't worry, I'll help you get another true dragon token. Furthermore, there are too many overwhelming prodigies in this dimension. Zhao Feng's expression was cold, and his eyes were sharp. His blue hair moved without any wind. Dai Yi and Jiang Sanfeng were stunned. From Zhao Feng's tone, it seemed that he wanted to find trouble with Taiyan Shuangzi. Taiyan Shuangzi was famed for his savagery, cruelty, and cunning amongst the 5 overwhelming prodigies. Moreover, this pair of Siamese brothers could combine their swords and sabers to attack together. They could attack and defend at the same time, and it could be said to be perfect without any flaws. Chapter 376. After meeting up with Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi, Zhao Feng immediately left and split up with the 3 from the Heavenly Yuan clan. On the Heavenly Yuan clan's side, Zhao Yufei had the strength of a quasi-overwhelming prodigy and Mo Tianyi was one of the first-tier geniuses. With these two here, even if an overwhelming prodigy came, they would be able to fight back. Zhao Feng led the way and the golden figure of a dragon flashed in the air and could be sensed from far away. Run! The 6th overwhelming prodigy, Zhao Feng, has come out of seclusion. This Zhao Feng has heavily injured Shi Qingtian and goddess Bingwei. His eye bloodline is unbeatable. On the way, chaos ensued and the geniuses with the true dragon token either ran away or hid. Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi followed Zhao Feng and clicked their tongues. Apart from being excited, they were also slightly complicated. Thinking about how they had been chased by the overwhelming prodigies and powerful geniuses before, they had to run away. But now, they had experienced the feeling of power, and seeing the peak geniuses of the continent run away made them extremely happy. Although they were using the tiger's name to intimidate others. This is the effect of strength. I didn't think that an overwhelming prodigy would appear in the Iron Blood religion. Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi were extremely relaxed and didn't need to worry about being chased. On the way, Zhao Feng's group coincidentally met Prince Jin and a few others from the Canopy Great Country. Prince Jin saw Zhao Feng's overwhelming prodigy aura and was dazed for a moment before taking a deep breath and came to join Zhao Feng. If Zhao Feng was willing, he could take in a few lackeys. Leave or else I won't rule out attacking you the next time we meet. Zhao Feng coldly rejected, and an indescribable mental energy pressure made it hard for Prince Jin and company to breathe. This was the sacred true dragon gathering, and although there were no rules, he wasn't a Buddha who protected others. Prince Jin and the rest left dejectedly. However, this result was not unexpected. Zhao Feng did not seem to be a soft-hearted person. Division Master Zhao, your dragon luck aura is simply too strong. When those people saw you, they all ran far away. Dai Yi couldn't help but worry. As time went on, the number of true dragon tokens would decrease. It's simple. Zhao Feng waved his hand and had the little thieving cat come out. With Dai Yi and Jiang Sanfeng as bait, the little thieving cat as a sneak attack, and Zhao Feng in the distance with the Luoho Bao. In fact, with Zhao Feng's speed, even if those geniuses tried to escape, he could easily snatch a few true dragon tokens. However, he didn't want the two to easily obtain the true dragon token. An hour later, Zhao Feng didn't do much, and Dai Yi and Jiang Sanfeng each received a silver true dragon token with faint golden lines on it. After dealing with the two, Zhao Feng prepared to find trouble with Taiyuan Shuangzi. Zhao Feng ordered Dai Yi and Jiang Sanfeng to stay within 20 miles of him. This way, the overwhelming prodigy's dragon blessing would make other geniuses not dare to come close. Division Master Zhao, that Taiyuan Shuangzi is terrifying and not normal. Now that we've obtained the true dragon tokens, we don't need to be enemies with him. Jiang Sanfeng felt uneasy. After all, Zhao Feng was a newly born overwhelming prodigy. Taiyuan Shuangzi was a pair of brothers and each had 80% of an overwhelming prodigy's battle power. Under the combination of sword and blade, they slightly surpassed normal overwhelming prodigies. From the start of the sacred true dragon gathering until now, only Yu Tianhao and Taiyuan Shuangzi hadn't lost a battle. Taiyuan Shuangzi's sword and blade combined attack is indeed strong. In terms of offense, he might even surpass Shi Qingtian and Goddess Bingwei. I don't have much confidence in a head-on battle. Zhao Feng's expression was calm and collected. Hearing this, Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi instantly became uneasy. If Zhao Feng didn't have much confidence, why would he go find Taiyuan Shuangzi? If something happened to Zhao Feng because of the two of them, they wouldn't be able to bear the consequences. Of course, I'm talking about a head-on battle. In other people's eyes, Taiyuan Shuangzi's sword and blade combined attack is perfect and flawless. However, I've grasped their flaws and have a chance to win in one move. Zhao Feng had a faint confidence. In the sacred true dragon gathering, only an overwhelming prodigy could deal with an overwhelming prodigy. After speaking, he opened his god's spiritual eye and searched for Taiyuan Shuangzi's location. In a short while, Zhao Feng confirmed Taiyuan Shuangzi's location. Let's go. Zhao Feng led the way. Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi wanted to say something, but it was replaced by anticipation. On the way, a powerful golden dragon suddenly appeared in front of him, and it was even slightly stronger than Zhao Feng's. Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi took a deep breath with nervous expressions. So, a jade kirin flying fish appeared in the sky. It was about the size of a pond, and on it stood a beautiful girl in a colorful dress. She held a 5-colored glass whip in her hand, and the geniuses around her all retreated. In the space, once an overwhelming prodigy appeared, everyone would jump. However, what would happen when an overwhelming prodigy met an overwhelming prodigy? Under normal situations, overwhelming prodigies would be able to sense each other from far away. Under most situations, they wouldn't have a chance of winning and would purposely avoid each other. However, Zhao Feng locked onto Taiyuan Shuangzi's direction and obviously didn't have any intentions of avoiding. It's him. Tantai Lanwe saw Zhao Feng from far away and her pure eyes twinkled. Solemnness appeared on her face. Before, Tantai Lanwe and Zhao Feng had only met for a short while but didn't fight. At that time, Zhao Feng only had the battle power of a quasi-overwhelming prodigy, and although Tantai Lanwe couldn't be ignored, he still looked down on her. However, Zhao Feng had fought against 2 overwhelming prodigies and injured Shi Qingtian before forcing back Goddess Bingwei, creating a new overwhelming prodigy that couldn't be shaken. Tantai Lanwe had also paid attention to that battle. His eye bloodline leans towards mental energy. My spiritual level is high, so it can be said that I can restrain him. However, I'm afraid he'll attack my spiritual pet. Tantai Lanwe analyzed. Although she wasn't scared of Zhao Feng, she was still wary. The two of them showed no fear of each other. They watched as the 2 enormous luck dragons slowly approached each other, refusing to give way to each other. Not long after, Zhao Feng and Tantai Lanwe were 1 mile away from each other. This distance was enough for them to attack, especially Zhao Feng, who specialized in archery. Tantai Lanwe was already on her guard. However, Zhao Feng didn't even pay attention to her, as he flew behind Tantai Lanwe. Tantai Lanwe was slightly surprised. She originally thought that Zhao Feng was here to cause trouble. After all, Tantai Lanwe had disturbed Zhao Feng when he was in seclusion. Suddenly, the direction that Zhao Feng was aiming at made her think of something. If I'm not wrong, that direction should be Taiyuan Shuangzi and Shi Tian. Tantai Lanwe's crystal-like eyes spun as if she had guessed something. If she wasn't wrong, Zhao Feng had most likely locked onto an overwhelming prodigy. Thinking up to here, Tantai Lanwe decided to watch from the back. Half the time it took to make tea later. A group of mountains appeared in front of them, and the earth elemental Yuan Qi was strong. There were 2 large auras of dragon blessing in this group of mountains. In the depths of the mountains, Taiyuan Shuangzi held a sword and blade in his hand and laughed savagely as he slashed at a large stone ball at the bottom of a mountain. The large stone ball gave off a yellow glow as it sank into the mountain. Ding ding! Pung pung! The sword and blade created sparks as they slashed at the large stone ball. Of the 2 large auras, one came from Taiyuan Shuangzi and the other came from the large stone ball. Taking a closer look, the large stone ball was actually a person. It was curled up into a ball, and its surface was condensed with a layer of yellow earth crystals, forming a powerful defense. The large stone ball was embedded into the mountain and seemed to connect with the power of the earth, increasing its defense by several times. As expected of Shi Tian, he has the stone heart bloodline and has the strongest defense amongst the overwhelming prodigies. Zhao Feng couldn't help but sigh as he watched from afar. Shi Tian's defense was already terrifying and normal prodigies wouldn't be able to break through it. At this moment, he had used a secret technique to curl himself into a stone ball and his body was almost petrified as he connected with the earth elemental energy in the mountain. Imperceptibly, his defense and recovery ability had greatly increased. If it wasn't for Zhao Feng crippling Shi Tian's leg and injuring his soul, Taiyuan Shuangzi really wouldn't be able to do anything to Shi Tian. But Taiyuan Shuangzi was cunning and struck while the iron was hot. He attacked Shi Tian and chased him all the way, forcing him into such a state. No matter how strong Shi Tian was, Taiyuan Shuangzi couldn't escape his fate. "Boss, there seems to be the aura of a prodigy. Not good, it's that brat. Does he want to take a share of our profits?" Taiyuan Shuangzi stopped and let out a breath. His cunning green bean eyes stared at Zhao Feng with a threatening intent. Normal overwhelming prodigies would avoid conflict with Taiyuan Shuangzi. This pair of brothers were cruel and their attacks were violent. Normal overwhelming prodigies wouldn't be able to handle them. "Blue-haired brat, you've come at the right time. Let's team up and take down this stone person. After that, we'll split his genius draconic providence 60-40. Taiyuan Shuangzi's eyes spun as he thought of a plan. Analyzing the current situation, they couldn't start a conflict with Zhao Feng. They had already forced Shi Tian into a dangerous situation. If they fought with Zhao Feng, Shi Tian would definitely recover and launch a pincer attack. At that time, it wasn't easy to counterattack with 2 overwhelming prodigies at the same time. Seeing Zhao Feng come over, Shi Tian's stone ball immediately sunk into the depths of the mountain. Taiyuan Shuangzi didn't mind and waited for Zhao Feng's reply. The heavily injured Shi Tian wouldn't be able to run far. "This is the conversation between overwhelming prodigies? Taiyuan Shuangzi doesn't dare to start a conflict with us and even suggested working together." Behind them, Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yu were shocked to see this. Taiyuan Shuangzi suggested working together and giving up 40% of the profits. From a certain point of view, this was a compromise and a recognition of Zhao Feng's strength. But who would have thought? Zhao Feng's expression darkened as his blue hair danced in the wind. "You 2 ugly monsters think you're worthy of working together with me? My target isn't the stone person, but the filth of this world. One move is enough to deal with you." Chapter 377. My target isn't the stone man but the filth of this world. One move is enough to deal with you. The blue-haired youth in his sight was cold and emotionless. These words were like a slap to the face. Taiyuan Shuangzi, who was famed for his cruelty, paused and went into a daze. One move is enough? Where does this Zhao Feng get his confidence from? Tantan Lanwe, who was secretly following from afar, had a powerful spiritual sense. She could clearly see the situation here and was surprised. Amongst the original 5 overwhelming prodigies, Taiyun Shuangzi, as a conjoined body, was extremely powerful, cruel and bloodthirsty, vaguely had the tendency to be ranked second. Taiyun Shuangzi was one of the favorites for first in this sacred true dragon gathering and had a high chance of challenging Yu Tianhao. Shi Qingtian, who had entered the mountain, paused after hearing this. This Zhao Feng's tone is so arrogant. However, being someone who had lost to Zhao Feng, Shi Qingtian knew how terrifying the opponent was and was suspicious. He didn't run far and instead sat down to recover while paying attention to the situation. Defeat us in one move? Arrogant brat. Yeah. He doesn't put us brothers in his eyes at all. Taiyun Shuangzi roared as he gripped his sword and blade. His true spirit realm aura contained a killing intent that could scare gods and ghosts. Thinking back to when they had dominated the sacred true dragon gathering and slaughtered everyone. Even overwhelming prodigies had to avoid them. When had they ever been looked down upon like this? One move was enough. This was an insult to one's dignity, and was extremely disrespectful to an overwhelming prodigy, even if the opponent was also an overwhelming prodigy. Cruel, easily angered and self-centered. Zhao Feng stood with his hands behind his back and looked at the enraged Taiyun Shuangzi who was charging over. Boom! In an instant, the nearby mountains were sliced off and a small mountain was split into pieces. Sky Astral 9 Flame Blade. Earth Demon Ice Soul Sword. The blade and sword slashed out, and fire and ice intertwined. Everything within a mile radius turned into a death zone. The terrifying aura was enough to instantly kill normal true mystic ranks. The two top-notch cultivation techniques were of completely opposite attributes. When they worked together, their battle prowess was ranked among the top among the geniuses. Such a powerful battle strength. The fusion of sword and saber, the fusion of fire and cold, can be said to be perfect. Zhao Feng sighed in his heart. In this situation, he wouldn't be able to gain any advantage against Taiyun Shuangzi. Whoosh! He left behind an electric phantom in his original position, and a series of overlapping phantom shadows appeared in the void. Pew pew boom! Taiyun Shuangzi's first round of attacks missed, and quickly locked onto a lone peak. Under the attack, only a stone pillar as thick as a person was left on the peak. Ugly monster! You were born together. You have no freedom, no privacy, and even your lives are bound together. How sorrowful it is for you to live in this world. Perhaps this is the reason why you are so extreme and bloodthirsty. Zhao Feng stood on the stone pillar with his hands behind his back. His face was full of mockery and pity. When he said this, Taiyun Shuangzi was startled for a moment. Then, his eyes widened and his anger reached the extreme. Arg! Brat! You're dead for sure! Yeah. This blue-haired brat dares to look down on us. People like this in the past were all cut into 10,000 pieces and devoured by us. Taiyun Shuangzi's killing intent and anger reached a peak. With one word, Zhao Feng touched Taiyun Shuangzi's reverse scale and the biggest grudge in their hearts. Although they had two minds, they were in the same body. They had no freedom, no privacy, and were looked down upon. Even the women they enjoyed were from the same body. It's actually very simple. As long as I kill one of you, the other will be able to be reborn. A smile appeared on Zhao Feng's face. Kill one of them. The cruel and bloodthirsty Taiyun Shuangzi had obviously thought about this before. They were tired of this body and each other. However, they were also brothers and had a master. Eye of the heart. Zhao Feng's left eye seemed to extend infinitely as if it was drawing out a dream heaven. Taiyun Shuangzi, who was extremely angry, had lost his mind. When he saw Zhao Feng's god's spiritual eye, his body and mind shook as he stood dazed on the spot. Next, Taiyun Shuangzi's two faces showed a slight struggle before it was replaced by savageness, viciousness, and a silly smile. Then, their gazes turned and completely ignored Zhao Feng as they stared at each other. Boss, I've tolerated you for far too long these years. Help me, your little brother. I want to live alone, I want to be truly free. I don't want to enjoy women and have to share them with others. Taiyun's second brother's face twisted as his sword flashed and slashed towards Taiyun's first brother. I've already predicted that this day would come. Taiyun's first brother laughed cruelly as his blade gave off a bright light as it slashed towards Taiyun's second brother. Dang, 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 dang. Taiyun's big brother and Taiyun's second brother fought fiercely, refusing to give in to each other. It was a good show of fratricide. On the same body, the blade and sword clashed, causing sparks to fly. What was more amazing was that Taiyun Shuangzi shared the same body and the two qi of true spirit intertwined. In just a moment, the two fought fiercely, and within a 1-mile radius, the wind howled. Zhao Feng's figure was dim as he half hid on the lone stone pillar. His left eye stretched out and formed a beautiful color. The eye of the heart's power against those who don't have a firm will and have flaws in their hearts will increase by many folds. Zhao Feng stood on the lone stone pillar with his hands behind his back as he watched Taiyun Shuangzi kill each other. In terms of battle power, even Zhao Feng was wary of Taiyun Shuangzi. Even Goddess Bing Wei and Tantai Lanhua were wary of him. Taiyun Shuangzi combined his blade and sword together, and their battle power could be said to be perfect. Zhao Feng had to admit this point. He didn't have much confidence in a head-on battle. But sometimes, winning didn't require a violent battle. There was a more elegant way. Taiyun Shuangzi had been affected by the environment, and had a big flaw in his personality which was hit by Zhao Feng in one move. Winning in one move wasn't just empty words. Zhao Feng didn't even need to make a move to make Taiyun Shuangzi kill each other and die together. Oh my god, what happened to Taiyun Shuangzi? Did he really get defeated by Zhao Feng in one move? Tantai Lanhua, who was chasing from behind, had shock written all over her face. One move is enough. This Zhao Feng didn't lie at all. Shi Qingtian, who was hiding in the mountain, took in a cold breath. Ding ding dang dang dang. The battle between Taiyun Shuangzi and Taiyun Shuang, the two's battle became fiercer and fiercer. Because the two had the same body, they tried to attack the other's head and arms. Taiyun Shuangzi's arm was slashed, and there were a few bloody marks on his face. One of Taiyun Shuangzi's ears was sliced off. At this point in time, the two were covered in blood and their expressions were savage. Half an hour later, Taiyun Shuangzi's body was wobbling on the spot and the two were in a stalemate. Xiao xiao! Suddenly an electric saber light streaked across like a thunderbolt and disappeared from behind him. Not good! Taiyun Shuangzi and Taiyun Shuangzi both felt a chill as they understood the situation. But it was too late. Puchi! One of Taiyun Shuangzi's legs was sliced off and blood splattered everywhere. Plop! Taiyun Shuangzi, who had lost his balance, fell onto the ground with a face full of pain. There were dozens of wounds on his body, including internal injuries. Zhao Feng's lightning slash was also aimed at Taiyun Shuangzi's weakness. Because Taiyun Shuangzi only had 2 legs in the same body, losing one would greatly hinder his movements. Not good! We've been ambushed by this brat. Taiyun Shuangzi's face was full of regret. At this moment, Taiyun Shuangzi was heavily injured and had lost a leg. His battle power had decreased by more than half. Zhao Feng stood on the stone pillar, and a playful smile appeared on his face. His blue hair fluttered without any wind, and he was like a lord of the wicked path. Each of his words and actions put the opponent in dire straits. Run! Taiyun Shuangzi wasn't dumb, and he resisted the pain as he circulated his qi of true spirit and flew towards the mountain behind him. In their current state, they might not even be able to win against the peak experts of the first tier, let alone overwhelming prodigies. Furthermore, Zhao Feng's methods were mysterious and formless. Thinking about the situation just now, they couldn't help but shiver. Taiyun Shuangzi, accept your death. A powerful and resonant voice came from the mountain peak. Immediately after, a terrifying gravity descended on Taiyun Shuangzi's body. Shi Qingtian. Taiyun Shuangzi screamed in fear as his body fell down. Crack! Shi Qingtian broke through the mountain and his giant body heavily stepped on Taiyun Shuangzi's body. Wah! Taiyun Shuangzi instantly spat out a mouthful of blood as his bones broke and his organs bled. Shi Qingtian had the strongest body in the sacred true dragon gathering, and the power of his stomp was terrifying. Furthermore, Shi Qingtian didn't plan on stopping and continued to step on Taiyun Shuangzi's body and steal his true dragon token. Boom! Two dazzling golden luck dragons intertwined with each other in the sky. One of the golden dragon's aura was fading away. However, the overwhelming prodigy's true dragon token contained an enormous amount of dragon blessing and couldn't be absorbed in a short amount of time. When it was half gone, Shi Qingtian reached out and threw the true dragon token to Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng didn't reject it and received the true dragon token. There was still 60% of the dragon blessing left. You killed Taiyun Shuangzi and your contribution is greater. I can't thank you enough. I owe you one. Shi Qingtian stepped on Taiyun Shuangzi's body and thanked Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng had come to find trouble with Taiyun Shuangzi and had also saved Shi Qingtian's life. Shi Qingtian was the most honest amongst the 5 overwhelming prodigies and promised to owe Zhao Feng one. When the golden dragon behind Zhao Feng's back continued to expand, Taiyun Shuangzi's dragon blessing was extremely strong, and after absorbing 60%, Zhao Feng's dragon blessing had surpassed Goddess Bing Wei and Tantai Lanwei. Crack! Shi Qingtian suddenly used strength and crushed Taiyun Shuangzi's body. Ah! Taiyun Shuangzi let out a last scream and died. An overwhelming prodigy had fallen. Tantai Lanwei, who was watching nearby, couldn't help but take a cold breath as her face went slightly white. Her expression was solemn and fearful. She looked at the blue-haired youth standing on the stone pillar on the lonely peak again. Taiyun Shuangzi's death didn't cause any change in Zhao Feng, and he murmured emotionlessly, "It's better to die in Shi Qingtian's hands." Chapter 378. Ancient Colosseum. In the spectator stands, more than 100,000 experts from all over the continent were watching the scene in front of them. From the sacred true dragon gathering until now, the overwhelming prodigy's name had never been shaken. Who would have thought that an overwhelming prodigy would die in this sacred true dragon gathering, and it was Taiyun Shuangzi who was extremely strong. Until the appearance of the black horse, Zhao Feng, everything became possible. He first fought to a draw with Goddess Bing Wei and shook the overwhelming prodigy's position for the first time before injuring an overwhelming prodigy and becoming the new overwhelming prodigy. Even now, Taiyun Shuangzi's death had a lot to do with him. Although Shi Qingtian had personally killed Taiyun Shuangzi, most people's focus was on the blue-haired youth standing on the stone pillar. Zhao Feng had forced Taiyun Shuangzi into desperate straits just by using the weakness in his heart. Seeing Taiyun Shuangzi be stomped to death, Zhao Feng's face was expressionless and cold. At this point in time, his dragon blessing had reached the overwhelming prodigy level, and was around the same as Shi Qingtian but surpassed Tantai Lanwei and Goddess Bing Wei. Although Taiyun Shuangzi's battle power is strong, his mental energy level is the lowest amongst the 5 overwhelming prodigies. This is especially true for the flaw in his personality. Using the eye of the heart is perfect for this. Zhao Feng started to think about the 4 eye techniques he had comprehended. Eye of illusion uses mental energy to trap the enemy and doesn't have any direct attack power. Eye of the heart attacks the weakness of the enemy's mind and can even control those with weaker mental energy levels. Eye of Eye Soul uses the power of the Eye Soul to freeze the enemy's consciousness. Eye of Lightning Fire uses the flame of true spirit in one's body to merge with the power of the God's spiritual eye to attack the physical and mental energy world. The 4 eye bloodlines didn't have an absolute strength. In terms of offense, the Eye of Lightning Fire was obviously the strongest, but sometimes it wasn't as good as the other eye techniques. For example, when he was fighting against Shi Qingtian, he had used the Eye of Eye Soul to continuously lock on to Shi Qingtian. If he had used the Lightning Fire God's Eye, it would have been a waste of effort. For example, against Taiyun Shuangzi, there was an obvious flaw in his personality. In a situation where their mental energy levels were about the same, Zhao Feng used the Eye of the Heart, and won in one move without any effort. The 4 eye secret arts are enough for me to deal with most opponents. Unless the opponent's realm or strength far surpasses mine. Zhao Feng had a development outline in his mind. On the oval platform, the 9 sovereigns could only watch as Taiyuan Shuangzi died, unable to do anything. The sacred true dragon gathering had already been started by the ancient arena. What a pity! If such a monstrous talent advanced to the primal core realm in the future, his strength would be immeasurable. Since the beginning of time, there hasn't been a single conjoined brother venerable. A venerable couldn't help but say regretfully. An unparalleled prodigy would normally only appear once every few generations. Even though Taiyuan Shuangzi was cruel and bloodthirsty, his death still made the venerable sigh. If Taiyuan Shuangzi doesn't get rid of the flaw in his personality, it won't be easy for him to become a sovereign. This brat will most likely walk the path of slaughter. Yu Xingqian shook his head faintly. Strength was one aspect, but sometimes one's temperament, willpower, and other aspects were even more important than strength itself in the process of cultivation. Experts needed the heart of an expert to be able to control the power of an expert. This was the relationship between cultivation and mental state. Therefore, cultivation was also a process of cultivating the heart. In terms of personality, there are 3 people in the sacred true dragon gathering that have almost no flaws. The bronze-skinned giant deputy palace lord said slowly. Which 3? Yu Tianhao has unparalleled conviction and confidence. Xian Wuheng is as calm as water. Lastly, there's Zhao Feng. His mental state has always been calm and unyielding even at the most dangerous moment. That's right. These 3 have their own styles and are all perfect. The sovereigns all nodded their heads. If a person had the mentality of an expert, they would become an expert sooner or later. This was probably something that even Zhao Feng didn't expect. The god's spiritual eye's transformation didn't just change his body, it also changed his heart. Of the 3 the deputy palace lord mentioned, Yu Tianhao and Zhao Feng were both overwhelming prodigies, and their battle power was ranked near the top. Xian Wuheng was at least a quasi-overwhelming prodigy, and might even be able to fight against normal overwhelming prodigies within the barrier of light. With the death of the older generation, new overwhelming prodigies would naturally take their place. There were still 5 overwhelming prodigies: Yu Tianhao, Shi Qingtian, Zhao Feng, Tan Lanwei, and Goddess Bingwei. Amongst them, Yu Tianhao's dragon blessing was still number 1. Next was Shi Qingtian and Zhao Feng, who were on par. The one with the lowest dragon blessing was Goddess Bingwei. A portion of it had been taken by Zhao Feng in the first round. Zhao Feng, you've saved my life, so I owe you one. This stone heart jade pendant is a treasure of the Shi family, and I'll leave it with you for now. If you need help one day, you can come find me at the Shi family. Shi Qingtian solemnly handed a seemingly cheap jade pendant to Zhao Feng. Zhao Feng took the stone heart jade pendant, and found that his sense of the earth yuan qi had increased by quite a bit, and there were other uses for it. The value of this item was probably close to a high-grade spiritual-grade weapon. Zhao Feng didn't reject such a good thing. That's good too. When I return to the 13 countries, I'll need help to change the situation of the cloud area. Zhao Feng thought. After saying goodbye to Shi Qingtian, Zhao Feng met up with Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi. Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi still had shock on their faces. Before they had left to find trouble with Taiyuan Shuangzi, they were feeling uneasy. However, Zhao Feng had forced Taiyuan Shuangzi to the point of no return with just one move. It's good that Taiyuan Shuangzi is dead. Many people were killed by him in the sacred true dragon gathering. Jiang Sanfeng and Dai Yi's hatred was vented. Before, they had almost been killed by Taiyuan Shuangzi because they didn't hand over their true dragon token. After dealing with Taiyuan Shuangzi, Zhao Feng and company returned to the river zone and met up with the Heavenly Yuan clan. Zhao Yufei was still consolidating her cultivation, and Mo Tianyi and Dai Yi were responsible for protecting her. At this point in time, Mo Tianyi and Dai Yi still didn't know of Taiyuan Shuangzi's death, and when they heard the truth, their hearts shook. For the next 2 days, Zhao Feng and company didn't purposely go out to find their targets. All of them had a true dragon token, and their dragon blessing was strong. Of the 5 overwhelming prodigies, Yu Tianhao occasionally went out. Shi Tian was recovering. Tantai Lanwe was also resting and letting her spiritual pets rest. Zhao Feng was comprehending the battle between Yu Tianhao and Xian Wuheng. Only Goddess Bingwei often went out to find genius dragon blessing to strengthen her own. However, the 5 overwhelming prodigies had a large amount of dragon blessing, and the amount of true dragon tokens they obtained wasn't much. This was also the reason why Zhao Feng stopped moving. He sat cross-legged and closed his eyes as he comprehended the intents contained in the battle scenes in the dimension of his left eye. Revolving star passage. Mental energy and mental vitality becoming one. One with heaven and earth. Zhao Feng comprehended the basics of revolving star passage. This intent was especially compatible with the mystic flower treasured Bible. Comprehending revolving star passage would increase Zhao Feng's ability to protect himself against the strong. On the other hand, the fusion of mental energy, and consciousness, becoming one with nature, could not only stimulate one's potential to an even greater degree, but it could also increase Zhao Feng's mental energy level and root of law. Mental energy, and mental vitality becoming one meant that Zhao Feng had basically entered the Tao. One with heaven and earth had touched upon the threshold, and under comprehension, his usage of the power of lightning became more profound. The first day, Zhao Feng comprehended mental energy, and mental energy becoming one with heaven and earth, and felt that his potential and mental energy level had increased. The second day, Zhao Feng once again comprehended the lightning inheritance, and successfully reached the 3rd floor. According to the requirements of the lightning inheritance, one needs to be at the true Lord rank to start cultivating. Now I've succeeded. Zhao Feng was overjoyed. The 3rd floor of the lightning inheritance required one to be one with heaven and earth, and lightning. Because Zhao Feng had comprehended mental energy, and mental energy becoming one with heaven and earth, he was able to cultivate the lightning inheritance. The 3rd floor. The 3rd floor of the lightning inheritance allowed one's every action to control the heaven and earth lightning yuan qi to reach a whole new level. Although Zhao Feng's cultivation had increased and was comparable to the late stages of the true mystic rank, it was still hard for him to use the 3rd floor of the lightning inheritance. Just what level has Xian Wuheng's concept reached? If it wasn't for the fact that his talent is average, and he doesn't have a bloodline, his cultivation would probably be far from the early stages of the true mystic rank. Zhao Feng couldn't help but guess. Before, Zhao Feng's talent was also average, but after obtaining the god's spiritual eye, everything changed. Zhao Feng had personally experienced the slow cultivation speed of those mediocre bodies. Time passed by quickly. The 7th day in the light dimension. The number of true dragon tokens in the dimension kept on decreasing. Some geniuses without a true dragon token counterattacked again, and even formed an alliance to move together. The battle was extremely intense. However, the battle didn't affect the overwhelming prodigies. Once one reached the overwhelming prodigy level, their strength would be close to the true Lord rank and normal numbers wouldn't have any meaning. Therefore, Zhao Feng and company were quiet. Until one day, the number of true dragon tokens in the light dimension had decreased to 100. When the membrane of light trembled slightly, and a huge amount of genius dragon providence was gathered, one could faintly hear the roar of 100 dragons. In the ancient arena, from the oval platform high up in the sky, one could see the silhouettes of 100 dragons soaring in the air. The 5 strongest dragons grew to more than 3 meters in length, forming a powerful image of dragon luck. The dragon luck aura lingered in the surrounding dozens of miles. Apart from that, there were also 5 quasi-overwhelming prodigies whose dragon blessings were all golden but under 1 yard. Shwa! 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 The remaining several hundred geniuses without a true dragon token suddenly disappeared from the light dimension and were teleported out. The remaining 100 were the top 100 of the sacred true dragon gathering and famous true dragon geniuses.